Good morning. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, here comes spring. We've got some clouds today, a high of around 75. Also, temps are going up from there this week. Right now, it is 60. In the news, Iran is still sending out attack drones targeting U.S. embassies. One of them hit the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia.
President Trump vowing to retaliate after the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia was hit by Iranian drones. Officials say the embassy, relatively empty at the time, sustained only minor damage. A fire was also reported at the U.S. embassy in Kuwait. It was in that country where the Pentagon says 6 American service members were killed and 18 others were injured during an Iranian attack on a tactical operations center.
That's ABC's Marcus Moore reporting. Another person has died as a result of that mass shooting in downtown Austin, Texas, early Sunday morning. ABC's Jim Ryan has the latest from Dallas.
The third victim to die was a well-known mixed martial arts fighter from Minnesota.
Fighting out of the red corner, give it up for George Peterson!
The 30-year-old was taken off life support Monday. Earlier, Austin police identified 2 other people killed as 19-year-old Ryder Harrington and 21-year-old Savitha Shawn, a student at the nearby University of Texas. The suspect in Jaga Janya was shot and killed by police. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
The Nashville Public Library has set Monday, March 30th for its reopening. That library has been closed since last June after a fire caused the garage attached to it to partially collapse the library's main branch downtown. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks recovered from an earlier sell-off as Wall Street assessed the U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran. But a surge in oil prices also took a toll. The Dow lost 73 points. The S&P was nearly even. The Nasdaq added 80. Crude prices jumped more than 6%, meaning the price at the pump will likely surge soon. And it could be a double whammy for Americans with prices for natural gas rising. A major supplier of liquefied natural gas to Europe said it would stop production because of the war in Iran. Stocks of airlines were some of Monday's sharpest losers. Not only do higher oil prices threaten their already big fuel bills, the fighting in the Middle East also closed airports and left travelers stranded. NVIDIA was the strongest force pulling the S&P higher. The chipmaker rose 3% after announcing a new $2 billion investment into Coherent and Lumentum, which are developing optics technology. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
And looks like we'll start off with some big losses on the markets this morning. The Dow futures are down 820 at the moment. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Just one crash so far this morning. It's in Donaldson on Elm Hill Pike, west of Briley Parkway. Other than that, looking good so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, you said the traffic looks good right now. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Bill Clinton does not. Holy mackerel. So
yeah. He also doesn't sound good. Like his voice has always been gravelly, but man, it's almost hard to understand him now.
All right, so this is where we're going today. We've got some local news. We obviously got some national news. We already have, it's only like Joan 5:06, and Sam is already disgruntled.
Sam, are you disgruntled already?
It has something to do with the blood moon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. You can't see it.
I'm a little upset about that.
Right now, 5 o'clock in the morning, we're supposed to be seeing what is known as a blood moon. Yep. Now, Amy and Riker were talking about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go. I started openly laughing, Joan.
Yeah.
When Riker's on the stairs, Amy's down on the couch with me, and Amy says, "Hey, guess what? There's going to be a blood moon in the morning." And Riker says, "What time?" Trying to make his voice deep because his voice is now deeper than mine. And she says 5 o'clock, and so they're talking about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go see the blood moon, which I guess is the pinnacle of when you can see it. I, of course, start laughing at them. Because there ain't no way they're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm just telling you that right now.
You could have taken a playbook from the Paul Rutherford Book of Pranks. What my father would probably have done is called me to wake me up at 4:50 to make sure I got up to see it, knowing that there's now cloud coverage and it's impossible to be seen.
Well, so Sam now wants to leave the radio broadcast and run outside and go check to see if he can see the blood moon. So if you would like to do that, Sam, you go right on ahead, leave the broadcast. There we go. He's going to do it.
I can't believe he's going to do it.
He's actually going to do
Adios,
this.
muchachos.
Oh,
He's
my
actually
gosh.
oh, my God. So
That's it.
I want to
We
make
lost
sure
him.
everybody knows what is happening right now. Our producer he's leaving the studio.
We're left all alone, Dan.
Don't do anything. I have to dump. Joan.
Oh, wouldn't that be great if I spewed some really bad, awful things right now?
Don't pull a Tim Burchett.
Dadgummit.
Threw down that a-hole. You were here
Yeah,
when he said
a-hole.
a-hole on the
Yeah.
air. And then Scott Desjardins yesterday. Then I'm going to get to
I
business.
know, right?
Then Scott Desjardins drops the A-bomb.
Yeah.
Say, what is it with our... I think that Congressman Desjardins, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just very quickly, you have... last week, Tim Burchett said the people that are against Trump, whatever it was, are a-holes, and he said the actual word. And then I started laughing, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And then yesterday when we interviewed Scott Desjardins, one of the things that I said as a precursor to the interview is I wonder if the congressman will drop an a-hole bomb like Tim Burchett did. And Desjardins only went as far as using A-double-S. He did not use the second part of a-hole.
I also noticed that it didn't get dumped. So
No.
what's up with that?
You could say, I mean, I don't like to say it, but I've been known on occasion to say A-double-S on the radio. Okay. Apparently you can spell it. Anyway, whatever. All right, so
Cloudy.
cloudy.
So you can't
Overcast.
see it?
No, but I am seeing a bit of an eclipse right now. If you pull up the YouTube stream, you will see Dan eclipsing the ring light on the back of the TV.
Oh, I got to turn my stuff on. All right, whatever. Very good.
Is
People.
the TV out or did somebody break it? And how
See,
dumb would that be to break a TV?
I know, that's never happened
Right?
before.
No, the host is running a little late today, not because of the blood moon, but because I spent too much time with Joan in my pre-show meeting.
Happens all the time.
Yep. So there you go. All right, we're up. We're up and running. We are fully, well, no, we're not fully functional. Let's be honest. We're not fully functional in the studio, I should say. Anyway, moving right along.
I just left that hanging there.
So just real quick, we will get to the Bill Clinton audio because in it, you'll notice that one of the things that Bill Clinton did that I don't know if the media is actually reporting this, but in his deposition regarding the Epstein files, he actually exonerated Donald Trump. So we'll get into that. There's a lot to talk about. Headline from the Daily Mail, Iranian sleeper cells have now been activated inside America. So that is where we will begin. By the way, just a lot going on as far as the war in Iran. The bombing continues. Israel is hitting Iran really hard. Donald Trump has been talking a lot about Iran. There's now going to be a second wave that is going to, the president saying that the second wave is going to be harder and faster and heavier and so forth. He's going to be going after, in this second wave, he's going to be going after their missiles. He's particularly going to go after their drones as well. We've sunk now 11. If you think about this, Joan, how long have we been doing this? What, like 3 days?
Today is day 4.
So in 4 days, we killed their supreme leader. We've killed at least, and I don't know if there is a new number now, but we've killed at least 48 of the supreme leader's, crew, if you will.
Well, and then the new supreme leader, he's already dead.
So we've killed 2?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Who wants the job?
Talk about a first day on the job.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would think the first 4 or 5 are dead men.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, was the new guy that we just killed, and was he a guy with a white beard and a black turban?
No, his turban was red.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, they've got these hardliners in there, and they just keep putting these hardliners in there that are, Islamic and Sharia law and all that kind of stuff. And so this same thing is going to be happening. If you all these guys that are going to be, the new supreme leader, they've got this gang of 3, if you will, in Iran. They're the ones that are appointing the supreme leader and kind of running Iran right now. And so if you were one of the ones that have been out there in Iran chanting death to America, we will be handing you death on a silver platter. So I think this is just going to be something that is going to keep happening. We've got the second wave. The president told News Nation that is, going to be really brutal. Again, going after their missiles, going after their drones, because the Iranians are doing some damage with these drones, with their drones. We all know that they've got a very serious drone capability there in Iran's. So that is part of the conversation that we're going to have this morning. We have a video of Hillary Clinton losing her ever-loving mind during the testimony because, the whole thing was taped, right, when she was talking about the Epstein files. And so when she found out that her photograph was taken and then it was, released on social media, we have her reaction, if you will, in real time. And the Republicans have now released that. And I'm sorry, but it is kind of funny.
Yeah, the tranquilizers wore off.
The tranquilizers wore off, and now Hillary was, really angry. And she's, basically she said, I've had it, and threatening to leave and the whole thing. So we'll play all of that. But most important thing to me right now, be honest with you, and we talked about this yesterday. What were you going to say, Joan?
I just hit the microphone with my coffee cup. Sorry.
Oh, good, nice job. All right.
Yeah.
A guy named Charles Marino is talking about the sleeper cells that have now, they say, been activated. Now, remember yesterday, we said that the FBI was worried about these sleeper cells being activated inside America. Well, apparently now they have been activated inside America. We are going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 10:15. I should say 5:15.
Whoa.
I'm not sure where I got 10:15 from, man.
Neither.
I don't. It is 5:15, and Jones got the traffic on WTN.
So far, we don't have much going on except for Elm Hill Pike in Donaldson. That's where there's a crash this morning near Briley Parkway. Also, paving work underway on 24 westbound in Joelton. It's at Whites Creek Pike. 2 right lanes are blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So am I reading this right? A high of 74 today, Joan?
Yep, you got it.
Going to get up to 80 this weekend.
I know, right?
All right. Windy, warmer, and a high of 80 apparently this weekend, and high of 74. Looking forward to it. Now, you guys know what a soft target is, right?
Yeah.
Joan, you know what a soft target is?
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly you know, living in Washington, D.C. or working in Washington, D.C. Concerts, sporting events, shopping malls, public gatherings, just like we saw in Austin over the weekend. By the way, we have more information on that dude as well. So the FBI now and people that are far smarter than me are saying that we are facing what they call a convergence of threats. We've got who knows how many people in our country, and they are ready right now to carry out similar attacks like the one that we saw in Austin. This is a guy by the name of Charles Marino, and he is somebody who has been involved in this kind of work for a long time.
The Austin Police Department has identified 3 victims in that fatal mass shooting at this bar behind us here in Texas over the weekend. Officials say that 19-year-old Ryder Harrington and 21-year-old Savitha Shan, 2 Texas college students, were killed during that mass shooting. Additionally, officials just revealed that Jorge Pedersen, a 30-year-old Texas resident, was also killed. And the young age of the victims really does underscore and illustrate the tragic nature of what unfolded here over the weekend.
Yeah, they talk about a Mumbai-style attack. Now, if you remember what happened in Mumbai, multiple attacks at the same time, which is exactly what radical Islamic terrorists like to do. I mean, think about 9/11. Right? World Trade Center, and you had the Pentagon as well. And so they talk about multiple attacks at the same time. If you remember back in 2008, Mumbai, there were, count them, 12 coordinated attacks that happened in 3 days. Ultimately, Islamists, 175 people died, more than 300 injured in these attacks. So now this attack in Austin, for some reason, I don't know why, and I will always be surprised by these kinds of things, but for some reason, this terror attack in Austin has some people perplexed.
The FBI director and the FBI special agent in charge from the San Antonio office that covers the Austin area were very careful. They said that this has the potential to be a terror attack.
The potential to be a terror attack. So, dude had a Property of Allah sweatshirt and an Iranian T-shirt underneath, had photos of Iranian leaders and the Iranian flag inside of his home, had a Quran in his car, but it's got the potential.
Stop jumping to conclusions, mister.
I guess I'm being Islamophobic. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes, I think so.
Islamophobic? So we talked about the guy. He used to live in New York. He was originally from Senegal. By the way, Senegal, West Africa, came to the U.S. in the year 2000. Senegal is one of those nations that Donald Trump has said no more people immigrating from Senegal, from this part of West Africa into our country. We're not doing that anymore. See, Donald Trump knows. Donald Trump knows, and conservatives know, that there are certain parts of the world, frankly, that we don't need anybody coming into our country from. As I told you yesterday, he came to the U.S. in the year 2000. He's had a long history of arrests and a history of mental illness. His first arrest was in 2001 for illegal vending, and he's had a whole bunch of arrests since then. And, here's the deal. We still allowed him to become a naturalized citizen.
We can't get so pigeonholed into this not to follow the evidence wherever it goes.
Right.
And I'll close with this. If this was an act of terror, the determination needs to be made. Was this directed or was this inspired?
All right, so if y'all have been listening to me for any length of time, directed means that he was literally told by a terrorist group that he was to carry out this act of murder, this terror attack. If he was inspired, that means that he saw the news and he decided to act. So you've got directed, an alert goes out. All right, this is what you're supposed to do. Directed by ISIS, directed by Al Qaeda, whatever. If it was more of something that was inspired, I mean, obviously, if the guy had, a whole bunch of pictures of Iranian leaders, then he was somebody who was, very much inspired by Iran itself. And then we did what we did regarding Iran and their want of nuclear weapons. We took that out. We attacked them last year. We attacked them last weekend. And because of that, because this guy had such an affinity for Iran, he then was inspired to act. But, these arrests have been sealed. The 3 arrests that this guy has been, he was arrested, I think, 3 or 4 times over the last many years. We can't really find out what those arrests were for. For whatever reason, they are sealed. The New York Post is now reporting that back in 2017, this guy was sued because he hit a woman with a car while driving a company vehicle. So just follow the pattern and ask the questions along with me. He comes to America in the year 2000. They made him a naturalized citizen in 2013. Moved around a lot. He lived in New York. Then he lived in Texas. He was unemployed. Nobody can find any actual work history on this guy after 26 years, which is crazy. He came in under Obama. He was naturalized under Bill Clinton. He applied for asylum in 2016. So a lot of questions regarding this guy. One of my biggest questions, of course, is how many more of these guys are in our country? And that's what everybody wants to know. And Sam, you were telling me there's an influencer that you follow on. Yeah. Is it on the Gram? Is it on the Talk? Where is it?
I follow Ryan Kelly on Instagram, but he's
Ryan Kelly, sure. Okay.
Yeah, he does the videos where he puts on the hat and the glasses and he talks what Boeing's making or what Lockheed Martin's. But he's also a very well educated guy, and he has a clip talking about objective information as it comes to be about these sleeper cells within the country.
No, it's not meant to scare you, but with the recent development with Iran, it's going to be important. This is my master's degree in Homeland Security, and it has become pretty applicable recently. There are 2 types of potential attacks that we should be looking out for on U.S. soil. One would be a lone wolf, someone that is self-radicalized, a bomber or a shooter, and they're very hard to spot. The other would be an Iranian state-sponsored cell that has infiltrated the U.S. and is looking for a symbolic or mass casualty event. We may have already seen that first type of attack in Austin, Texas. More information needs to be released, but at the time of recording, we're not sure yet. With the second type of attack, we know that a good amount of Iranians have already illegally entered the country. The question is, were they fleeing from their homeland, or were they looking to set something up here, and what would a cell like that look like? It's important to remember that Iran specializes in creating proxy forces that fight for them. So even if they sent over an Iranian to be a commander of a group, they probably looked for domestic extremists to carry out their plans for them. Or they hired people in ways that they think they're doing nothing wrong. So if you see someone doing something odd, they could look like anyone. Be aware. One of the things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he is right. Do you remember just an example of a soft target? The Ariana Grande concert. Remember that whole thing? The Manchester Arena bombing. It was during an Ariana Grande concert. Guy walked in with a large backpack, and the explosion happens. It was an Islamic terrorist suicide bombing. And that was back in 2017. I remember that.
Well, and to Ryan's point, we see how radicalized some of these early 20-somethings have become.
Well, we call it rapid radicalization.
Yeah. The rapid intake of disinformation to brainwash you into doing. I mean, I would not put it past some, blue-haired alt-left feminist on some college campus to walk into, some public space strapped with something. I just, at this point, can't put it past them.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. So keep your head on a swivel. By the way, let's see here. 0801, Dan Flubbed again, came in under Clinton, naturalized under Obama. The guy, the Texas shooter. Apparently I shanked that. All right, which is fine, whatever. All right, it is 5:24, Nashville's Morning News.
So they're saying back-to-back Democrat presidents allowed him to be here.
You know what? They're all D's. What? They're all D's. They're all Democrats.
Yes.
Right? D's.
Right.
Yes.
Is this where we're going this early in the morning?
You took it there, man.
Democrats. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, listen, I want you to know that there's a listener in in McMinnville, 4702 that sent you a picture of the blood moon.
I really hope it's not a pair of red ass cheeks.
No, it's a picture of the red moon.
It's the red moon.
I'm pulling it up. Pulling it up.
Yeah, whatever. All right, it is a 5:25.
You can say thank you.
Morning news. Yeah, say thank you to 4702.
Thank you. Spare my
that's it.
humor.
Joan, you ever feel like sometimes we're the parents in the house?
I do.
Dealing with Sam sometimes?
I'm done being a parent, parent of young children. So, Sam, snap out of it.
You got to wait till April.
Otherwise, we're going to take away your electronics.
I got to wait till April.
Oh,
for
that'll
what?
go over well for you. Who wants to listen to pre-recorded programming? Well, we fist fight.
All right, it's 5:25 on Nashville's Morning News. Got a lot more straight ahead on WTN. Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, President Trump warning Iran that the big one is still to come. Got that and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Too cloudy for most of us to see the blood moon this morning. Cloudy all day and our high near 75. President Trump submitted a war powers notification to Congress yesterday over the military action in Iran.
President Trump saying, quote, "We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon."
Whatever the time is, it's okay, whatever it takes.
The president not ruling out ground troops in Iran, adding the U.S. is prepared for a prolonged conflict.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
But leaders within the administration say this will not be like previous wars in the Middle East.
That is ABC's Marcus Moore reporting from Doha, Qatar. Residents in the Donaldson area are fed up with homeless camps and the trash that's piling up because of them. Jane Schnell tells News 2 that she's hosting litter cleanups near the Stones River Greenway. But right after the cleanup, the trash begins piling up all over
It's
again.
It's illegal to camp on state property, period. So that encampment under the bridge should be gone. It's illegal to camp on a Metro Greenway. So, I don't understand why that takes so long.
Schnell says she has reported the issues to Hub Nashville, but so far there's been no action to clear those camps. With construction underway at the Music City Loop, some residents near the project are feeling left out of the conversation. They met last night at the First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill, for a meeting led by State Senator Charlene Oliver. She spoke to News 2.
It has been one-sided, pushed by the Boring Company. But the Boring Company is not listening to us.
The group is asking for a meeting with Governor Bill Lee and the Boring Company to address concerns about the use of public land for what they call private enterprises. Stick around. We've got traffic up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. They're still doing the paving on 24 westbound in Jolton, so you only have one lane available. 2 right lanes are blocked off I-24 west at Whites Creek Pike. There's a crash in Donaldson, Elm Hill Pike, west of Bridley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Joan and Sam, I'm going to play some fun with audio because I've got Hillary freaking out. I've got Jake Tapper freaking out. I've got Jim Acosta freaking out. And by the way, Elizabeth Hasselbeck is now back on The View.
Is she there? So I saw her. Is she there like permanently or was she just guesting?
That I don't know. But I know that there's a clip where she is putting Anna Navarro right in her place.
Yeah.
Do you know, can I just say this? It is so low level, short putt, easy, really third grade analysis for somebody to say that the war in Iran is about covering up the Epstein files. Like, I'm sorry, but that is like kindergarten analysis. I'm just going to say. Now, if you want to ignore everything that has happened since 1979, somebody called up a Christian show yesterday. It was a great point where a person said that if you're a person of a certain age, and that would be you and I, Joan, we've been waiting for this moment since they took our hostages.
Yes.
Since they took Americans hostages. And the guy was absolutely right. And so anybody who just says, he's trying to cover up the Epstein files. That is third grade analysis. I don't know what else to tell you. And I don't mean to be insulting to anybody. And I don't know if anybody on this station has said this. I probably should have, but whatever. But it is. It is. If anybody's saying that, sorry. This is Elizabeth Hasselbeck. And she is talking about, she's responding to Anna Navarro. And Anna Navarro talking about the Epstein files and all this kind of stuff. Listen.
I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see two leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption back home. Donald Trump is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not let go away.
I do think it's...
So that was Anna Navarro. And this is Elizabeth Hasselbeck. And she brings up some great points about what is going on with a number of different things. But one of them, the women of Iran and what they face on a daily basis.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing. Okay, we have an disgusting terrorist regime ended. And the people finally have hope to create their own nation again. Okay, so that's the hope. When we zoom out in geopolitical realm, okay, which is not my specialty either, but I have a ton of friends in the military.
Well, clearly it's not Anna Navarro's.
Who specialize in this. We see that this is actually avoiding a boots-on-the-ground war with China when we are able to choke their oil supply, and the president and our military are exemplary in doing so right now. They've cut the oil supply from Venezuela, and they've now reduced it and choked the oil supply to China in Iran. And now what that does is presumably prevent China from having an absolute stronghold on the globe. So this is a strategic move geopolitically that we may not fully understand, but I absolutely trust that this is best for our nation, and we should be America first.
And you know what? She's right on a number of fronts, Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Number one, clearly, obviously, China has always been a problem. And where does Iran sell a lot of their oil? To China. So that is obviously part of the conversation as well. And for the ladies on The View, I think that in the headline on this particular post is Anna Navarro immediately regrets opening her mouth with Elizabeth Hasselbeck in the room. Elizabeth Hasselbeck is very smart. And so for me, the more that people are talking about the Epstein files, and listen, I know that, there's still a lot of questions to be asked. But you know what? When we still have the Clintons in there and they were questioned by the House, I forget what committee it is, but you got Hillary and Bill Clinton. Both have now been questioned. We have the video and the audio that was released yesterday. So we as a nation, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can ask about the Epstein files and continue with the investigation into the Epstein files and continue to do what we need to do with Iran. Because we understand that in Iran, there have been, and J.D. Vance was on Jesse Waters last night, did a great job of selling to the American people the reason why we're doing what we're doing in Iran. So the more that you have, some of this low-brained, really shallow analysis by somebody like Anna Navarro, the more the administration comes back and says, no, this is why we're doing it. And, oh, by the way, the Trump administration is doing it really well. I mean, again, we've taken out 49. Apparently, Jake Tapper, there's a piece of audio here, and I want to go ahead and play this. Jake Tapper is actually wondering if it was necessary to kill all 49 of these people from the Khamenei's administration. I want to play this for you. This is actually kind of funny. Listen to this.
Was it necessary to kill the top 49 leaders of Iran, including Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader?
I mean, is it just me, or is that? I'm like shocked at that question. Of course it was necessary to kill them. These are the people that chant death to America. These are the people who are plotting and have been plotting against America for years. And these are the people that have been ordering the killing of all of those civilians in Iran. And so I'm going to be honest with you. And again, I still have my concerns. Nothing has changed from before the bombing. But what I will also say is that we need to not only cut the head off the snake, which we've done, but we also have to, cut the snake in like many, many different pieces. And part of that is killing all of the people that also had the mindset that all of these, 30,000 civilians had to be killed in the past couple of months because of all of those protests, Joe. And I think that's a silly question that Jake Tapper asked.
A lot of them children, too. Like it's not like these were just a whole bunch of adult protesters out there. There's a lot of young kids, a lot of teenage kids that were just murdered writ large by their government. Mm-hmm. And to ask this question is essentially like, you go to a restaurant, is it necessary to eat dinner?
Right.
Let's just have water.
Let me play it one more time.
Was it necessary to kill the top 49 leaders of Iran, including Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader?
I mean, obviously, Joan, I don't know if you've got a take on this.
It's unbelievable.
It's a silly question. It's a silly question.
Jake Tapper has so lost his way. He's just lost his way. He's nuts now.
Well,
he's nuts.
I'm shocked he's not plugging a book in the same segment.
Yes.
This is retired Lieutenant General Charles Moore.
I think it was a very wise move for a couple of reasons. First, anytime you can decapitate leadership in the government and military organizations, you put the whole country, the entire apparatus, in a state of upheaval. They don't know what's going on. It's extremely difficult for them to execute command and control, to have any type of synchronization or integration of their forces.
Was it necessary to?
So that is Jake Tapper, and yeah, that guy who was giving the analysis. You have a nation that is clearly in the wrong direction, and all of these people that we killed, no doubt, are part of the hey, let's go ahead and try to rebuild our nuclear program so that we can take out, as many American allies as we can and continue to try to get a missile with nukes on it that can reach America. So, yeah, if you live by the sword, which is what these guys do, then they're going to die by the sword. And they are the ones, again, that ordered the killing of all of those, 30,000 protesters over the last couple of months. And when you need to do what you need to do, which is what America is doing, then, yeah, people are going to die. And I'm not going to say, sadly, people are going to die. I'm glad, actually, that those people are going to die. Now, you want to hear some Hillary audio? This is Hillary Clinton, and I got to try to get through a lot of this now. This is Hillary. The question that she was asked, oh, by the way, just real quick, Joan, can you imagine that dynamic? This audio bite is about Hillary being asked, do you think that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee? So, I mean, clearly she is trying to make the case that, yes, he should be deposed. But then there's other audio that I've got where Bill Clinton is basically saying Donald Trump never, ever said anything about anything vile and reprehensible going on the island. And basically, you know, from Bill Clinton's standpoint, exonerating Donald Trump. So they've got to have an interesting dynamic about Donald Trump, because I think Bill Clinton actually likes Trump, and Trump has come out and said that he likes Bill Clinton. Yep. So it's got to be a really interesting dynamic between those two. This is Hillary being asked, do you believe that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Absolutely. You know, I was a lawyer, and as a lawyer, you would look for pattern and practice.
Is one of those patterns like people die around the Clintons? Oh, sorry. I'll just move on.
You were deposing a witness in a case that you were trying, if you were in court, what did you know about this person? What you knew could influence how you questioned that person, how you tried the case. Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for sexual assault by a jury of his peers. 9 members of a jury found him liable in the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll.
That, and I don't know, you weren't here when that whole thing went down, but Joan or Sam, that thing was so completely bogus.
Well, and the burden of proof in a civil case is just the majority.
Right. And the burden of proof is a lot lighter than it is in a criminal case.
Yeah, and it's also for liable, which the liable in the context of that case, if I'm not mistaken, was I did not sexually assault that woman. So he was found liable for stating that he didn't, because I guess he was denying her truth or reality, whatever the hell. But that's not a criminal implication by any means whatsoever. And she should know that as a former attorney.
Well, I mean, I think that when they have so much anger against Donald Trump and when they hate the man so bad, and, you know, one of the reasons why Hillary hates Donald Trump is because he beat her in the election.
Yes.
So you've got that aspect of it, too. So this is Bill Clinton now. It was interesting where there was a moment where they were asking Bill Clinton about Donald Trump, and he answered the question, but there was no follow-up question. And so there was this weird sort of awkward pause where Bill Clinton is expecting a follow-up question, and no follow-up question happened. So he decided to take matters into his own hands and exonerate Donald Trump.
I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question, the president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. That's the truth. As I said earlier, the only conversation I had with President Trump about this was in the early 2000s. And I have no information that he did anything wrong. I just want it all out there. I want everybody to get it all out there and let everybody see where we are.
And realize, again, that was Bill Clinton acting on his own. Because they didn't really, from what I can tell, he didn't really ask him the question. The Democrats on the committee didn't really ask him the question about what do you know or did you know about, Donald Trump and anything that he may have done on the island. And so Clinton said, I'm just going to say this right here and right now. And I love that he did that. So and I've got some more audio that I'm going to play from this as the radio program continues to unfold. But there was also a moment, Joan, I don't know if you've seen these, but there's also a moment where they handed Bill Clinton a file folder of pictures of, I guess it was his time on the island.
Huh.
And he's like smiling at the photos, like he was reminiscing.
Oh my gosh.
And good times. And his lawyer actually had to take the photos away because it clearly looked like he was enjoying reminiscing about his time that he spent with Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when the lawyer tried to take the photos away, he's like, no, let me have that one back. Oh, my goodness gracious. So it does seem to me like, and now realize I'm a conservative, right? I'm a Trump supporter by and large. So I'm looking at this through my clearly biased prism, but I believe that this whole thing continues to backfire on the Democrats. From, Bill Clinton essentially exonerating Donald Trump to Hillary looking like, she just, she did a lot of yelling. She didn't come off really well in her testimony at all. And so between the two of them, I don't know if anything was, proven about, Bill Clinton and what he did on the island and so on and so forth. It doesn't really seem like it. But I think the most important headline coming out of all of this was Bill Clinton essentially, again, exonerating Donald Trump. And so the more that, people like Ana Navarro and all of these people on the left, the more that they try to talk about two things. Number one, Jake Tapper talking, just let's bring this whole segment to a close with a nice little bow. So the Democrats obsessing over Epstein, right? So one of their key witnesses, Bill Clinton, comes out and says, I don't think that Donald Trump did anything wrong or didn't see or talk to him about doing anything wrong. So that is a backfire on the Democrats. To now, Jake Tapper, did you really have to kill all the radical Islamists in the Iranian government, right? That question in and of itself looks absolutely ridiculous. To Ana Navarro, saying, it's all about the Epstein files and we're not going to let this go away. Don't let it go away. Don't let the Epstein files go away. But also realize that there are other reasons why we are doing what we are doing in Iran. And, I made the joke yesterday, Joe, and I'm probably, it's the same thing is going to happen today where I'm going to be called, not only a pacifist, but also a warmonger in one show. I thought it was really interesting yesterday because I talk about, my concerns, and I do still have concerns about all of this. I'm not going to bore you with that. But I think that with the precision that we're doing this, I think you and Sam had some great points yesterday where the precision of what we're doing from, killing Khomeini on the first day, killing the 49, and I'm sure there's probably more by now, but the other 48 of these radical Islamists that were in Iran's government, to how concise we are in taking out their ships, their communication. Now we're going to work on their drones and their missiles and, just how well we are executing this attack. I think that this may not be 4 or 5 weeks. However, it might be shorter. However, Donald Trump said something last night I do want to bring to your attention. It is all straight ahead at 5:54 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 6. Joan.
Yeah, we'll get an update on what's happening in Iran this morning. Also, why a couple of Smoothie King employees are looking for new jobs today. Those stories at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ham says Jake Tapper is dabbling in Keith Olbermann's playbook. Jason says Bill is likable. Cover your eyes and your ears, Joan. Hillary is just a...
No.
I would never say that. I actually abhor that word.
Why can't you say it?
Because I'm not, because I don't like that word.
Oh.
But it does apply to Hillary. Moving right along.
I think the word demon's totally fine to say on the air.
Demons is fine too. We can go down demons too. Anyway, so coming up, we're going to talk about what J.D. Vance said last night on Fox News. He was on with Jesse Waters. We have that part of the story. We have America really is right now on alert. Breaking news on CNN, Trump and Hegseth not ruling out boots on the ground in Iran. That is what I'm worried about. So we've got a lot more straight ahead. By the way, the death toll right now, as far as Americans go, up to 6 this morning. It is 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and here comes the spring. We'll have some clouds today, high around 75, and the temps go up from there the rest of this week. Right now, it is 60 degrees. Well, let's get the latest on what's happening right now in Iran with ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. Fresh attacks today on Iran, and President Trump has warned a new wave is coming. The Iranian Red Crescent saying at least 787 people have been killed in U.S. and Israeli strikes since the bombing started over the weekend. Iran firing back, targeting U.S. installations in several countries, says ABC foreign correspondent Marcus Moore in Doha.
President Trump vowing to retaliate after the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia was hit by Iranian drones. Officials say the embassy, relatively empty at the time, sustained only minor damage. A fire was also reported at the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait. It was in that country where the Pentagon says 6 American service members were killed and 18 others were injured during an Iranian attack on a tactical operations center.
The fighting sending oil prices even higher, jumping another 7% this morning. Iran has threatened to fire on ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil is carried through that strait. This is ABC News.
Other news of the day, there is news about the 2 Smoothie King employees who refused service to a couple in Michigan because the husband was wearing a Trump sweatshirt.
Yeah, we don't support that. Our company's not about that. We're not really comfortable with that. Okay, well, you can have a great day because we have the right to refuse service, so.
Smoothie King says that franchise owner of the location has fired the 2 employees. They're going to retrain the rest of the employees so that doesn't happen again.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
those employees, because I'm going to be honest, I love Smoothie King.
Yeah,
those employees clearly, over their skis. You know what Smoothie King needs to do? They need to say, you know what? If you bring in some Trump gear, we'll give you a free smoothie for this day, whatever day it is. That's what they should do.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you call them? Do you
sure.
follow Libs of TikTok?
Libs of TikTok, yeah.
So they posted the number to Smoothie King so everybody could call Smoothie King and let them know.
Gotta love Libs of TikTok, man.
I know.
All right, moving on.
Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
After deep declines to start the trading week, the major stock average is moderated by mid-afternoon Monday. The Dow pared earlier losses to finish at 48,905. The S&P closed up a fraction. The Nasdaq ended higher by 1/3%. The U.S.-led attacks on Iran could make heating your home and driving your car more expensive. Oil prices surged more than 6% as tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz fell sharply. Natural gas prices spiked after Qatar Energy said it's halting production. Also climbing, the cost of some airline flights. With major Middle Eastern hubs closed down by the fighting, trips between Asia and Europe are soaring. Checks of some routes show prices 4 to 5 times higher than normal.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Futures sharply lower. We've got the Dow futures down 828. Stick around. We've got traffic up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. They're still working on the roadway in Jolton this morning. It's on 24 West, and it's at Whites Creek Pike this morning, exit 35. 2 of the right lanes are blocked off. You got a crash in Woodbine on 24 West at I-440, and 2 left lanes are blocked off by that one. There's now a delay starting around it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There is so much going on. Let's get to it, shall we? By the way, Nashville's Morning News brought to you by Tennessee National Golf and Waterfront Community, TennesseeNational.com. So there's a lot of headlines that I'm going to throw out at you, and then I'm going to play some audio and so forth. But one of the questions is, has America hit a nuclear facility in Iran? It is the Natanz nuclear facility. It is the core of Iran's nuclear program. I got some details on that in a minute, but this particular facility is where they do their nuclear enrichment and where they also come up with, nuclear energy just to keep the lights on and so forth. But, the question is always going to be asked, what exactly is Iran doing at these various nuclear facilities? So we'll get into that. Also, Israel is bombing the living crap out of Beirut because Hezbollah is doing what Hezbollah does, attacking Israel. So that is a good thing. Israel is responding. President Trump says a big wave is yet to come. That is what he told CNN last night in a phone call. Iran is launching new strikes against our allies in the Gulf. The bombing does continue. The president and his allies have been out in force talking about the justification for this attack. So I want to play a few audio bites from not only Donald Trump supporters, but also from the vice president, J.D. Vance. So first, let's listen to Markwayne Mullin. I think part of what's going on with all of this, all of these, J.D. Vance and Markwayne Mullin and some of these other folks going on the TV and doing all the shows is because President Trump has seen the polling. I talked about this yesterday. President Trump has seen the polling that shows that the American people, by and large, if you believe the polling, are not on board with what has been going on. This is Markwayne Mullin, and he was talking about the justifications for the attack.
Since 1979, the Ayatollah had talked about becoming a nuclear nation. Since November of 1979, they've been attacking the United States or directly or through their proxies all the way up until June of 2025. And so they were never going to stop with this fetish or this dream that they had of becoming the utopia for the Muslim powerhouse. The truth is the only way this was going to change, the Ayatollah had to be removed. Now, President Trump tried multiple times to let diplomacy work. He made it very clear during the 12-day war that we know where you're at. If we wanted to take you out, we would. Just don't rebuild your nuclear sites. All they had to do is not build it. But he couldn't help himself. He was getting later in age, and this is something he said he was going to do. And so he pushed forward, and the president doesn't bluff. He's not going to bluff. He may not do it exactly when you think he's going to do it. He'll do it on his time. But if he says he's going to do something, he will follow through with it, and he's proven it time and time again.
Yeah, and you heard the president yesterday live here on WTN, actually, during Chris's show, talking about all of this and really making the case.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders.
Makes a lot of sense. By the way, somebody started arguing with me yesterday. I touched on this very briefly in the 5 o'clock hour about oil. Somebody saying, oh, no blood for oil and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that was brought up yesterday was the China factor in all of this, because if we attack Iran and their ability to produce oil is diminished, well, guess where China, our mortal enemy, gets a lot of their oil? It's like 25%. They get that from Iran. So between Venezuela, Iran. Remember when we took over the ghost ships? That was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. But we took over those ghost ships. Well, those ghost ships, some of them were apparently headed to ultimately China. So, okay, I'm not going to say, that this is all for the oil. It's not, because we know exactly a number of different things can be true. We can be going after Iran because of the fact that they were trying to rebuild their nuclear facilities yet again. But part of that can also impact China and their oil, and the oil that China was buying from Iran and buying from, Venezuela as well. So if our attacking Iran to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon, building a nuclear weapon, adversely impacts China's ability to buy oil from Iran, and it weakens China, okay. I mean, a number of different things can be true. We can diminish our mortal enemy's economy by, cutting off their oil supply from Iran. If that happens to be a byproduct of what we're doing, okay. And by the way, you know what Iran has done? They're closing the Strait of Hormuz. So that also impacts oil. There's a reason why, and I think I heard Joan say earlier, oil prices are going up this morning. So part of all of this has been that the president has been out there trying to make the case. This was something where it was sort of a preventative measure. We don't want Iran to be able to have that nuclear weapon. And so there's a lot of people that are not on board with what we did because we weren't actually attacked, like, for example, on 9/11. But I want you to think about this. Let's say that we could have taken out, for whatever reason, we could have prevented what happened on 9/11 of 2001. And we could have prevented it a week prior by attacking somebody somewhere. Well, the American people also wouldn't have been for that, because why? Well, because we weren't attacked first. The American people, by and large, they are for or willing to accept us, going after somebody that gives us a black eye. But if we see somebody who we believe is about to come after us and we do something to prevent that from happening, the American people, they're not as quick to get on board with that kind of attack. So Vice President J.D. Vance, he was on Fox News. This was last night.
If you think back to Afghanistan, 20 years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition. What's so different about this is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish. And there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. And I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
So one of the things that the president said yesterday was he was planning on 4 weeks, but also said, well, we could be there for as long as it takes, which could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, it could be 5 weeks. You heard J.D. Vance talk about mission creep. I mean, we've seen that happen where the mission just, continues to creep along and, things change and we didn't want to do ground troops, but then we had to do ground troops. And so the best laid plans can somehow, some way, for some reason, end up becoming far different. And so that is what the worry is with this military action in Iran. I don't really see us being there for years. I don't. I think the ferocity and the effectiveness of our strikes is pretty clear. To be honest, we've sunk their entire Navy. We've further destroyed their ballistic missile program. We've taken out their military and communication sites, runways for airplanes as well. Again, we took out their supreme leader, dozens of his allies as well. Overnight, the president did post something that I want to talk about. That is coming up next. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it's going to be nice today, 74 for your high, windy and warmer as well. So what did the president post last night? Overnight, the president posting that we have a virtually unlimited supply of weapons and we can bombard Iran for as long as we want. The exact quote, wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies, talking about missiles and bombs and so forth. And so this comes after the Iranians attacked our U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia. We have now, again, as I mentioned, a total of 6 Americans that have died in battle. The other thing that the president has said is that this does seem to be somewhat of a pivot in that regime change is not what the president is demanding. It would be nice, but the objective is no more nuclear aspirations. This is what J.D. Vance said about that.
In a perfect world, yeah, we would love it if somebody came to power in Iran who was willing to work with the United States, who was willing to show some respect to the United States, and again, most importantly, made that long-term commitment that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But ultimately, whatever happens with the regime in one form or another, it's incidental to the president's primary objective here, which is to make sure the Iranian terrorist regime does not build a nuclear bomb. So, there are a lot of things that could happen with the regime. Obviously, the president and I would prefer that you have a friendly regime in Iran, a stable country, a country that's willing to work with the United States as opposed to, bomb our soldiers and try to build a nuclear weapon. But fundamentally, so long as we achieve the president's objective to make it clear that Iran can't build the bomb, I think the president will be happy with the outcome.
By the way, in the news today, Donald Trump telling the New York Post in an interview that was published, I think it was last night, that he would be agreeable to boots on the ground. He said that he would not rule out sending U.S. ground troops into Iran if they were necessary, adding that unlike past presidents, he does not promise there will be no boots on the ground. And so that is a part of the conversation this morning that has a lot of people, of course, as you can imagine, hyperventilating. But there is no doubt that the president has tried diplomacy. He tried and he tried. He doesn't want to do this. One of the things that I know that I've said, and probably other people have said as well, I know that Chris said it, is that if there's any president, and I bet you'd agree with this, Joan, if there's any president that I would trust with this kind of a war, it is Donald Trump, because he's the guy that has said that he does not like war. He hates war. He hates people dying for, essentially no real reason whatsoever except a couple of warring countries. That's why I believe that I trust Donald Trump with this far more than I would trust others. And so this is a man who has ended many, many wars and conflicts across the world. And I truly believe that this is a man who hates war. So I understand when he says that I'm going to do whatever it takes to end this quickly. That is the point that Donald Trump is trying to make. Now, here's the other thing. I think it is great that we are committed to this concept of no nukes for Iran. We all know that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. It is something that the president has been saying for a long time. I do trust that President Trump has no interest in being in Iran for decades. He hated what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. As far as all of that diplomacy goes, this is what J.D. Vance had to say about that.
Not just that they're trying to enrich, and this is one of the almost comical elements of the diplomacy that we've been engaged in for the past month, the past year, I should say. You know, Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner, they did such a good job, such a deliberate job. But the Iranians would come back to us, Jesse, and they'd say, well, you know, having enrichment for civilian purposes, for energy purposes, is a matter of national pride. And so we would say, okay, that's interesting, but why are you building your enrichment facilities 70 feet underground? And why are you enriching to a level that's way beyond civilian enrichment and is only useful if your goal is to build a nuclear bomb? Nobody objects to the Iranians being able to build, medical isotopes. The objection is these enrichment facilities that are only useful for building a nuclear weapon.
Yep.
Even some international organizations that usually don't agree with the United States were very clear that Iran's only purpose in building these underground, highly enriched facilities was to build a nuclear weapon. It just doesn't pass the smell test for you to say that you want enrichment for like medical isotopes, while at the same time trying to build a facility 70, 80 feet underground.
And also don't forget, and this was part of the deal with the Iranian nuclear deal that Donald Trump, in my opinion, rightly pulled us out of, is that Iran really wasn't agreeing to inspections. They could only inspect when they said that an inspection could happen. They were not willing to give the inspectors any access and no surprise inspections. And they were in charge of where the inspectors could go. So it is obvious, and that was Donald Trump's big, and a lot of other conservatives too, where they were saying, you cannot trust Iran not to produce nuclear weapons, because what does Iran do? They perpetually lie. Got a lot more straight ahead. At 6:23, it is Nashville's Morning News. By the way, coming up at 6:35, we are going to be joined by Jonathan Fahey, and as a former acting director of ICE under Donald Trump in the first administration, he's got some thoughts about what has been coming across our southern border and the dangers that we all face right now. It is all straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan's got the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up, your fears of lone wolf terrorists like that one in Austin, Texas. Also, Democrats dig in their heels. No funding for DHS, even as that threat level is higher. Those stories and more at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, very good, Joan. Thank you. Dan Mandis here for USS United Structural Systems. You know that Tennessee is in recovery mode. USS is here to help. We've got flooded homes. We've got a weakened infrastructure as well. You know, they've been helping out Middle Tennesseans, United Structural Systems has, since 1994. They've helped thousands of families and businesses restore their homes after foundation damage. You know, where that damage comes from typically is crazy weather like the weather we had in January. And year after year, tens of thousands of Middle Tennesseans have been helped by United Structural Systems. I'm one of them. They've been out to my house a couple of different times. They've helped me, and I do know that they can help you as well. From schools to homes and community involvement, United Structural Systems, they've been huge in times of trouble and despair. How can they help you like they helped me? Now, if you've got foundation or water issues, go with the company tied to our community. United Structural Systems. Gain peace of mind with USS and their foundation repair and waterproofing services. Find them online. It is USSTN.com, USSTN.com. The phone number, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. $6.25. Dan Mandis here, and my place to shop for furniture and appliances. DT McCall's, I've bought both from DT McCall's, and they can help you as well. I've bought furniture, I've bought appliances. What can they do for you, DT McCall's? You know, they're always looking for ways to save you money at DT McCall's. Check out their website right now, dtmccalls.com. If you need a washing machine, they've got the GE Energy Star Ultra Fast Combo right now, and with the rebate that they've got available to you, you can save $800. It is now, of course, March. That means that you might need a new barbecue, and they've got the best barbecues out there. Louisiana grills at great prices for all budgets. DT McCall's, it is my place to shop. You should try there as well. Now, if you've got a room to fill, they can help you with all the best brands of sectionals for the living room, bedroom suites as well, dining room furniture too. All at great prices. They've got outstanding customer service as well. This is why I shop at DT McCall's. Now, remember, they have as many of their items made right here in Tennessee as possible. They've been around for 4 generations, 100 years of treating people right. It is DT McCall's, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning. It's 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A third person has died after the potential terror attack on a bar in Austin, Texas.
This is Jim Ryan. The bloodshed in Austin's popular nightclub district came a day after the Department of Homeland Security issued a warning about potential lone wolf terror attacks coming in response to the U.S.-led military strikes on Iran. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis.
Everybody better be on heightened alert. You know, what happens across the country, we all need to be aware of.
Images of the suspect moments before he was killed by police show him wearing a sweatshirt that read, "Property of Allah." Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Now, despite that heightened threat, Democrats say they have no plans to end their blockade of DHS funding. Politico reporting most TSA screeners, FEMA workers, and Coast Guard members are now working without pay. The Trump administration is set to brief both chambers of Congress on the Iran situation today. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, will all take part in that briefing of Congress. And a blue alert continues in Tennessee for the suspect accused of shooting a police officer in Memphis last week. Denell Maxwell is his name. He remains on the run. He's considered armed and dangerous. The officer, Oscar Torres Molina, was released from the hospital. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. It is 6:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, Jonathan Fahey is going to be joining us momentarily. I'm going to tell you about my friends at Window Nation. Listen, if you are thinking about upgrading the windows in your home, give my friends at Window Nation a call. They can help you. Find them online at windownation.com. Now, I've got 4 Window Nation windows in my home, including 2 in my all-important basement studio. Now, right now, the more you buy, the more savings you get at Window Nation. They've got a special up to 50% off all window styles. Be sure to ask about Window Nation's financing options, including $0 down and payments as little as $199 a month. Now, I'm going to repeat that because that is a great deal. You can enjoy up to 50% off all window styles. You can also get financing options as well, including $0 down and payments as little as $199 a month. Now, this is why I trust Window Nation. They've got an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've worked with them. This is a great company. Also, they've got a 96% customer satisfaction rating and over 45,000 5-star reviews. Find them online. It is windownation.com. Be sure to mention my name whenever you call Window Nation, windownation.com.
Well, now it's causing big delays, that road work this morning on 24 westbound in Jolton. It's past Whites Creek Pike, exit 35. 2 right lanes are blocked off by a pretty big delay around it now, too. In Woodbine on 24 westbound, you've got a crash there. The right lane is blocked off right at I-440. Westmead, Charlotte Pike at River Road, that's a crash involving injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends, and welcome on in. It is March 3rd of 2026. It's Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. By the way, the Nashville's Morning News here brought to you by Tennessee National Golf and Waterfront Community at TennesseeNational.com. Jonathan Fahey is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Jonathan, always great to have you on. Former acting director of ICE under Donald Trump in the first administration. Jonathan, always great to have you on. A couple of things. Number one, and I started out the radio program this morning, Jonathan, talking about this, and you would certainly know about this, but, you know, the headline is Iranian sleeper cells, according to the Daily Mail. Iranian sleeper cells have been activated now inside of America. Homeland Security is saying that the signal was sent from Tehran. So, I don't know. Let's talk about that. How worried are you?
I'm concerned, and more so than just sleeper cells, just so many people that came across that might share the ideology of the Iranian regime came across the border during the Biden administration that we don't even know about it. Like, we always talk about, you know, the people on the terror watch list that were caught, and I think 99 were let into the country, but that's probably not even close to our biggest concern. It's the people that came in, you know, the 2 million plus gotaways or so that came in. Well, yeah, it's a major concern, and we had total chaos. And we talked about this, you know, during the Biden administration all the time, that this is going to lead to bad things because we don't know who's coming in, and the Biden administration just didn't care. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of people that share the ideology. I think a lot of people, you know, with what happened in Texas, I think there's a big vulnerability to things like that happening. And the worst thing about it is, like all of these things, when it could have been prevented, and the Biden administration didn't even try to prevent it because they were more interested in the electoral benefit they were getting from it.
Yeah, one of the things, and you talk about, and I was talking about this earlier, but, you know, and maybe you can give me some insight into this. We got all these people that are saying, oh, you know, we got to be careful that we don't just knee-jerk call this a terror attack. Well, the guy was wearing a Property of Allah sweatshirt, Iranian T-shirt underneath, had photos of Iranian leaders at his home, Iranian flag inside of his home as well, had a Quran in the car, and he's from Senegal, which is West Africa. But I do find it interesting that there's still some people out there that are like, we can't knee-jerk call this a terrorist attack. I mean, why are they so worried about designating this, whether or not they should designate it as a terror attack? I mean, it seems clear to me anyway that it is. What am I missing here?
Yeah, you know, it's really funny. Like, we would talk about, you know, during a trial, when you're making an argument, when you're trying to prove intent by inferences you draw from the facts, you would say people don't wear shirts saying what their intent is. Well, this guy did, and it's so obvious. And I think it's really the left wing of this country. It's the left wing media because, you know, they associate that as sort of coming from the left, so they never want to ever acknowledge there's anything bad about it, anything bad about immigration. So they're always trying to, you know, so they'll immediately go down the road when it's a terrorist attack or somebody like this. It becomes a mental health issue. Remember the last name was Hassan, the guy that killed the people at Fort Hood. It was
Yes.
probably 10 to 15 years ago. You know, that becomes like a mental health issue. No one wanted to call it a terrorist attack because they also don't want to acknowledge the problem, and that would, you know, make us maybe vet people more carefully coming through and other types of things. Yeah, what would be the scenario that it's anything else. I mean, it's utterly insane. And it's not that complicated to figure anything else out. And the media, this idea they can't draw conclusions from reasonable inferences, it's like, it's a terrorist attack. I mean, maybe 1 in a trillion that they're wrong and it was something else and he just happened to be wearing the shirt the day he shot a bunch of people. But I mean, that you have to be able to use common sense and talk about things in a serious way.
Yeah, and this guy, it's interesting when you look at his history. He comes into America, year 2000, a naturalized citizen in 2013. He moved around a lot. They can't find where this guy, the Texas shooter, they can't find where he was employed, like anywhere. I mean, there's no work history there after coming to America in the year 2000. So he comes in under Clinton. They say naturalized under Obama, applied for asylum in 2016. Not sure where that went. But, here's the thing, is he had been arrested multiple times and he has a history of mental illness. And so I guess part of my frustration would be, why do we let people like this in? I not let them in, although I would ask that question too, but why do we let them stay when he's got all of these crimes? 3 of them are sealed, by the way, and a history of mental illness as well. What is preventing somebody somewhere in the mechanism of our government to look at this guy and say, no, this is not somebody who should be a naturalized citizen?
Yeah, it's really insane. And, Stephen Miller talks about this a lot. When you're bringing in immigrants that are, what are they, a public charge or whatever, that they basically drain the resources, putting aside the crimes, which are obviously the worst part. But it really is crazy that the criteria for bringing people in and letting them stay isn't significantly higher. I mean, we talk about the Somali issue a lot, and it's like 85% of that community is on welfare, even after a substantial period of time here. And it's sort of like it really begs the question, like, what are we doing? Is our purpose of our immigration system, even putting aside the politics of it, it seems to be in many respects just to benefit the illegal aliens and clearly at the detriment of the United States citizens that have to pay for all of this because it's expensive. We have our own problems, so importing more problems into the country, it really just defies common sense. No one would rationally do what our country has done over the last 20 or 30 years with respect to immigration.
Jonathan Fahey is joining us on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so let's zoom out and give me your opinion on this military strike. We, of course, I haven't spoken to you since the weekend when all of this started to unfold. So what do you think? Just give me your first blush on President Trump trying to take out Iran's nuclear facilities.
I think that part of it is good. And I think, we see a lot of these parallels between North Korea and Iran, like if somebody had done something about North Korea 30 or however many years ago, they would be in a different position than they are now, and our position dealing with them would be a lot different. So I think it's a good thing to do so. I think Iran can't be trusted in negotiation. And I think Donald Trump, he's someone that likes to make deals and agreements, but when he doesn't think somebody's acting in bad faith, you don't want to be on the other side of that. I mean, I have the same concern I think everyone is having. Will this become Iraq 2.0 or Vietnam or Afghanistan, where 20 years from now we're still there trying to prop up some government or have elections and stuff like that aren't in the interest of the country? So my hope is it's short, we're done. Whoever ends up being in charge will be more likely to work with us. And I think that will be true. I think most likely whoever's in charge will be more likely to work with us. But, I think I have a lot of the concerns everyone else has that, it always starts off really well with all of these things, right? And then how does it end? And that's always the question. And that's the one thing it seems like our country has never figured out how to sort of extract ourselves from these things in a positive way.
Yeah, it is interesting because J.D. Vance is out there and Donald Trump said yesterday it's not about regime change, yet we killed their leader and 49 of his henchmen as well. I think that there's a lot of nuance to this conversation. I can on the one hand cheerlead this military effort But at the same time, and I'll tell you what I've told other folks. Yesterday, Jonathan, you'll love this, as somebody who's been on television, Fox News and so forth. Yesterday, I was called not only a pacifist, but also a warmonger. So, I don't exactly know how that works, but I can celebrate, the very decisive military victories that we are experiencing right now and watching all of this play out. And I love the fact, that we are going after their military and their nuclear capabilities. But now Donald Trump giving a interview to the New York Post, and he's not necessarily opposed to boots on the ground. And there's a lot of, I've got a lot of causes and pauses for concern. More with Jonathan Fahey is coming up next. 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, as far as your weather goes, windy and warmer today and a high of 74. So, there are other things going on in our country. I want to talk about this headline, and then I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. Headline, illegal alien with more than 30 prior arrests fatally stabs a woman at a Virginia bus stop. ICE, of course, requesting Virginia authorities not to release this public safety threat. So, it's just on the surface, it sounds horrifying, and I have a feeling I'm going to be even more horrified when I hear the story.
Yeah, this is insane. This happened this is basically the Charlotte murder with an illegal alien, and even with a worse prosecutor dealing with this guy in the past. Yeah, he has 30 arrests, and the worst thing about it is, I think it's at least 30 arrests or 40 total charges, but many of the charges were similar types of offenses. They were malicious wounding, which is in Virginia basically a really, really bad assault where somebody gets injured, rape, things like that. And he had multiple charges up until I think the most recent one was December of 2025, and he was routinely having his charges dropped by, we have a progressive prosecutor in Fairfax County, Virginia, funded by George Soros, who basically he's an anti-police, pro-criminal prosecutor. And one of the things he does, which makes this really, really bad, his office takes immigration status into prosecutorial decisions, meaning what plea offers. So they'll give more lenient pleas to illegal aliens than they do to American citizens so that the illegal alien doesn't get deported. So you have this guy with this history of everything gets dropped, and the prosecutor now claims they could never find the witnesses time after time after time, which, is hard to believe that would happen so many times, the witnesses on the previous case, so he had to drop them. But the point is, we have a woman dead. She was 41 years old, gets stabbed to death at a bus stop, and it's something, again, this world, like we were just talking about, the Austin case, it's like, these things are preventable, and they're so much worse, like Lake and Riley and this, when we have a government that not only didn't prevent it, but didn't even try. And that's what we have here in Fairfax County. And it's so shameful. And listen to this. We have a governor Abigail Spanberger, that just revoked. Governor Glenn Youngkin had a order saying every locality had to cooperate with ICE on detainers. She immediately revoked that. And then when specifically asked about this case, when this guy gets out, she still fell back on this. We will only do it with a judicial warrant, knowing that there's no judicial warrant available to have him deported. So even with something this bad, they still won't agree to turn him over to ICE, presuming he somehow doesn't get convicted, which in this county, in Fairfax County, there's a good chance he won't get convicted, or will have an insanity defense or something else, because we have such a lenient and also incompetent prosecutor. So it's sort of the combination of every Democratic bad policy in one, and we have a 41-year-old woman that should be alive today, but she's not because of it.
Well, and Abdul Jalloh, is that his name? Jalloh, been in this country since 2012. And, some of these, his criminal history includes more than 30 arrests for charges of rape, malicious wounding, assault, drug possession, and it goes on and on. Yet his mugshot, Jonathan Fahey, it's like he's smiling or smirking at the camera. Like this kind of stuff is horrifying.
It's insane, and it's like why? And when all these Democrats are fighting every deportation tooth and nail, they know they're doing so at the detriment of the American people, and they know there's some other woman out there that's going to be killed that could be prevented. We don't know, obviously know who it is, but we know they're preventable crimes, and the Democrats, always put politics first when it comes to immigration issue because they see it as their ultimate pathway to electoral success. And they don't care, and that's the most horrible thing about it. It would be nice to see our governor of our state at least get out there and say something sympathetic or something, but instead it's just hard line on the open borders. We're not deporting anyone.
Knowing what you know, as we wrap this up, Jonathan Fahey is joining us. Knowing what you know as we wrap this up, you got the polling, supposedly the American people against what is happening in Iran. Do you suspect that the polling is being manipulated, which is kind of where I'm at? Or do you think that the American people are just sort of waiting to see how this whole thing plays out before coming with a final judgment as we talk about Iran?
Yeah, I don't think the polling matters at all. I think it's the final judgment that matters because we've seen it with both Iraq wars start off with, I think first Bush, 90% or so approval, second Bush, same thing after 9/11. So I think it's how it pans out. And I think one real quick thing on when you said Donald Trump talking about boots on the ground, I think one thing Donald Trump does and does well, he kind of at least whatever he's thinking, he's not always sharing it on these types of things. So he wants the Iranians and the people in charge there to think, hey, we could be invaded. So that might also bring them to their senses first. I think he's learned from Iraq. J.D. Vance has learned from Iraq. I don't think we're going to be doing that. But, obviously I'm not in the know, but that's my gut take on it.
All right, we'll see what happens. And Jonathan Fahey, always great to have you on Super Talk 99.7 and always spot on analysis. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here in the news, attack drones hit U.S. embassies overseas, and where you may hear the sounds of explosions today. That's coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:57, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's been lots of amazing moments, Joan and Sam, during this so far 4-day war that we've had with Iran. Joan, have you seen the video of the pilot that got a hero's welcome after having to parachute to safety in Kuwait?
Oh, no.
Oh, this is awesome. I want you to listen to this audio. Would love to show it to you, but I can't for people on YouTube. But this is a female pilot, and her plane was shot down, remember what we learned yesterday, by the Kuwaitis by accident. So she had to parachute to safety, and you've got, because the people in Kuwait have no idea what's happened. All they know is that there was a warplane in their airspace that has now been shot down, and for all they know, this is an Iranian pilot, and so now you got a big group of people running towards this pilot.
You're fine? Really? You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe, you're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
I mean, I love that. The guy, as he approaches, realizes that she is an American. Thank you for helping us is what the Kuwaiti man said to our pilot. Just a very cool little moment. You know, it is interesting. You have all of these people that are protesting what we are doing in Iran, but the people in Iran are ecstatic, by and large, for what we're doing. People all across the world have been approving of what we are doing. They're
getting better treatment than the members of Congress would give them.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Joan. You are exactly right. So, I mean, I think Jonathan Fahey is right on this. I think that, Chris and I, and we were all talking about this yesterday. I think that the speed and the accuracy of what we are doing in Iran right now, it is quite the military achievement. We don't know, ultimately, whether or not this mission was successful until years from now. So we can applaud the military achievement. We can talk about how everyone seems to be, across the world appreciative of what we are doing, finally trying to free the people of Iran, trying to make sure that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror does not have nuclear weapons. So there's a lot of celebrating to be done, for sure. However, we won't really know the results of what we're doing for years to come. It is 7 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Iran is still sending out attack drones targeting U.S. embassies. One of them hit the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia.
President Trump vowing to retaliate after the U.S. embassy in Saudi Arabia was hit by Iranian drones. Officials say the embassy, relatively empty at the time, sustained only minor damage. A fire was also reported at the U.S. embassy in Kuwait. It was in that country where the Pentagon says 6 American service members were killed and 18 others were injured during an Iranian attack on a tactical operations center.
That's ABC's Marcus Moore. Meantime, nearly a dozen neighboring countries have received rocket fire or drone attacks from Iran since Saturday. Now Israel is expanding its military footprint.
The Israeli army has gone into southern Lebanon and taken several more positions inside Lebanon along the border. They say this isn't a ground incursion, but certainly it could set the stage for one in the weeks ahead.
That's ABC's Jordana Miller. Closer to home, the Nashville Public Library has set Monday, March 30th for its reopening. That library has been closed since last June after a fire caused the garage attached to it to partially collapse the library's main branch downtown. You may hear the sounds of explosions near the site of AES in McEwen today and tomorrow. These, however, are just tests.
Accurate Energetic System, or AES. They plan to have controlled test shots starting at 8 this morning and again tomorrow from 8 until 10. That testing is happening at the same facility where 16 people were killed in October.
The investigators have still not determined what caused that explosion in October. The Wilson County Director of Schools is set to retire. Jeff Luttrell making that announcement last night at a school board meeting. Luttrell says he'll step down later this year. He's been credited with helping the school district increase graduation rates and to orchestrate the development of new schools in Wilson County. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Could be a rough start on Wall Street today. Traders are worried, apparently, about a protracted war in the Middle East. Right now, the Dow futures are down 663. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So that paving work in Jolton is slowing things down on 24 westbound at Whites Creek Pike. There's 2 lanes that are blocked off by it. Also in Hermitage, the eastbound lanes of 40, a crash at Stewart's Ferry Pike, and the left and second right lanes are blocked off. Kind of slow around that, too. Talbot's Corner, 65 south at I-24 north. A stalled out vehicle in that area. And in Woodbine, a crash just now cleared on 24 westbound at I-440. Still slow in that spot. Westmead, Charlotte Pike at River Road. Watch for an accident there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I think we've got a little bit of controversy here on the morning show.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, apparently, as I'm being and moaning about not being able to play video, apparently when Chris Hand broke company policy yesterday and actually played video on his show 9 to 12, that is strictly forbidden under the company guidelines.
You can't have entertainment on
no.
via
They
company guidelines?
have a no fun allowed as far as showing videos on YouTube and so forth. So we may have a little bit of controversy because people are complaining in the YouTube chat that I made mention that I wish I could show you this video, but I cannot. And people are like, well, Chris did it. So I don't know. I don't know what hijinks and shenanigans are going on 9 to 12, but I'm not a rule breaker. Dadgummit. that rebellious Chris Hand, maybe he's a rule breaker. I'll have to find out if he really did. Because if he was able to play videos and it didn't actually crash our ever so fragile system, well, then maybe I can start sliding some videos in myself.
No, they covered their tracks. They deleted the scene that had the ability to do it.
Did they really?
Yeah, because I went through and there's no button that sets it up. So Nadine pointed it out in the YouTube chat. Shout out Nadine. I went back and looked at it, and they were playing videos that looked good. Problem is that we only get, like a dementia patient. We have these moments of lucidity with the stream, and then the rest of the time we're just our stream's back to going.
Yep. I know.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
We'll play some of that Bill Clinton audio here in a little bit. All right, so whatever. If I'll have to inquire about that, because if Chris is playing video, then I'm going to play it too. And if I crash the system, well, then I crashed the system. Anyway, moving right along. Joan, how often do you watch Libs of TikTok?
Oh, too much.
So do you find it entertaining? I need some audio.
Yeah.
So do you find it entertaining, Joan, when you hear things like this? Need some audio, please, if I could.
And literally, if you have any part to play in the American military industrial complex, literally, you. I hope you never make it home.
Oh.
I'm so serious.
Wow.
Yeah, she's cute, isn't she?
Little ball of sunshine, little ray of sunshine she is.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, not one but two nose rings. Now, I'm not saying you folks with nose rings, I'm not throwing all y'all under the bus, but I'm noticing a lot of people on the left, when they have those kinds of things to say, there's usually, purple hair, and there's certain looks that these people have. So anyway, horrifying thing to say. And I hope that people are making her famous. And, it's one of those things where I think that the people that are like that, I think that they have a very low ability to analyze, honestly, what's going on. I was talking earlier about anybody who says, President Trump is just trying to cover up Epstein. I don't even know what to do with that at this point. I just think that is incredibly shallow analysis. And it's like, just shut up. Just shut up. They have no idea what you're talking about. That actually happened on The View yesterday with Anna Navarro.
Yes.
So, if that is your level of analysis, if that's what you're able to do, okay, well then good for you. Then you go ahead and you run around and saying that Donald Trump is trying to cover up Epstein. To be honest with you, I think that if he is trying to cover up Epstein, he's doing a very terrible job. Because we literally have pulled in now a former American president to testify and a former Secretary of State as well. So if Donald Trump, can I just say if Donald Trump and the Republicans are trying to cover up Epstein, they're doing a terrible job at it. That's number one. Number two, we have Iran. And, can I be honest with you? The challenges that I'm having, Joan, is that there are so many different angles to us going into Iran that I feel like when I step away from the air chair every morning at 9, it's like, man, I forgot to hit that. I forgot to hit that. I forgot to hit that. So that's a challenge I'm having is I want to make sure that I get everything in because, somebody said on the super text line, well, why don't you mention that Iran is, sponsoring all of that terrorism across the world? I've said that 1,000 times. Like I don't, and I get it. I mean, that's a big part of why I'm glad that we are doing what we're doing with some hesitations. This is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, of course, the vice president, was on with Jesse Waters, and he's talking about how if you're worried about, Iran becoming another Afghanistan, another Iraq, that's not going to happen.
We destroyed Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon during President Trump's term. We set them back substantially. But I think the president was looking for the long haul. He was looking for Iran to make a significant long-term commitment that they would never build a nuclear weapon, that they would not pursue the ability to be on the brink of a nuclear weapon. And after months, really almost a year of painstaking diplomacy, what the president determined is he didn't want to just keep the keep the country safe from an Iranian nuclear weapon for the first 3-4 years of his second term, he wanted to make sure that Iran could never have a nuclear weapon, and that would require fundamentally a change in mindset from the Iranian regime. So he saw that the Iranian regime was weakened. He knew that they were committed to getting on that brink of a nuclear weapon, and he decided to take action because he felt that was necessary in order to protect the nation's security.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I am never going to have, I'm always going to have my reservations about this. I do. I don't want to see boots on the ground. The president telling the New York Post he's not necessarily opposed to boots on the ground. And that is, you know, for me, obviously something that nobody wants to see happen. I get what Jonathan Fahey said in the last hour when he and I were talking about this. Well, you know, part of this might be the president sending subliminal messages, if you will, to Iran. I'm not afraid to take yet another step and put boots on the ground. You know what I'd like to see the president do? I wonder if there's a way to do this. I need to get our military expert back on. You know what we need to do, Joan? We need to get all of these people from Iran's military, get them all into one place, and then just bomb the hell out of them. Like we did with, the Supreme Leader Khomeini and his 48, 49 henchmen. You know, they found out where they were going to be, and they bombed the living crap out of the place. I love that. We need to somehow do that with the, Islamic Revolutionary Guard, whatever it is, Iran's military that we talked incessantly about yesterday. So I like what J.D. Vance is saying. I also do like that the vice president is, and the Trump administration by and large, they are out there really taking control of the narrative, because I think that from a military standpoint, we are doing the right thing as far as how we are going about eliminating their ability to produce nuclear weapons. Here's more from J.D. Vance. He says, no, there's not going to be any kind of mission creep.
If you think back to Afghanistan, 20 years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition. What's so different about this is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish, and there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear, it's pretty simple, and I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Turn on the mic, Mandis. Coming up, a couple of other things that need to be reported this morning. And we do have one congressman who proudly has posted online how many Americans have to get Allah Akbar before we realize Islam is a problem. We're going to talk about Brandon Gill and a whole lot more straight ahead. 7:16 on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads. $7:16 as far as your weather goes, windy and warmer today, a high of 74. Looking forward to a really nice weekend ahead as well. And 7:16 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so we've been talking about the Iranian sleeper cells that have now been activated inside America. We saw what happened in Austin, Texas. We covered that earlier today. Guy who had a long history of arrests, a guy who had a history of mental illness as well. He is somebody who clearly, I mean, if anybody was watching this guy, they would have known that we should not have allowed him to stay in this country. But it does open the conversation to the dangers that are here in America right now. I know we all, I'm sure, have been talking about all of the illegal aliens. Who knows who came across our southern border over the 4 years of Joe Biden. Homeland Security is now saying that the signal has been sent from Tehran that these sleeper cells have been activated inside of America. So, yes, Brandon Gill, he is out of, what did I say, Texas? Is it Texas or Florida?
Texas.
Texas. Brandon Gill, a representative out of Texas, posted this on social media. How many Americans have to get Allah Akbar before we realize that Islam is a problem? And the point that he's making, of course, is that radical Islamic terrorism is a danger to Americans. We have seen it time and time again. The Pulse nightclub shooting, 49 people killed. Fort Hood, 13 people killed. We had that shooting in San Bernardino back in 2015, 14 people killed. Chattanooga, 5 people killed in 2015. Of course, we have 9/11, obviously. So now the shooting in Austin.
Chattanooga was it Marines or Army recruiting office, right?
Yes.
Both of which were gun-free zones.
Oh, yeah, you're right, gun-free zones as well. So this is Brandon Gill, and now people are absolutely after Brandon Gill for talking about this, but I understand what he's saying. He's talking about his concerns regarding Islam. Listen.
Bringing in lots of people from cultures that are unassimilable and incompatible with our own, whether it's from Somalia or from other parts of the Islamic world, for instance, as you alluded to, I think is idiotic and suicidal. The reality is that not all cultures are equal, and not all cultures are equally compatible with our governing framework. And I think our immigration policy ought to recognize that, and ought to recognize those basic truths that it should be in our power to determine who comes into our society. That is a core part of American sovereignty.
I mean, this is why Donald Trump has called for, and I talked about this earlier, Senegal, where the Austin shooter is from, where he said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and add Senegal in West Africa. We're going to add that nation to the list of countries facing U.S. entry restrictions. Now, this guy came in 2016. I've been talking about that. So there are differences between, I mean, this is obvious. There are differences between Islamic culture and our own. Islam, everything is about Islam, and the tenets of Islam are woven into their laws and their customs. In Islam, of course, women don't have the freedoms that American women do by and large. And people, generally speaking, don't have the freedoms that Americans do. And the women, they have to wear the Islamic hijabs and all that. No pork, no alcohol. Remember, there was that story out of, I think, was it Houston? Where there was this radical cleric walking around this Islamic neighborhood in Houston. He's walking into the liquor stores, and they're basically
it was in gas station stores that sell liquor.
Yeah, they couldn't sell liquor.
And the really funny thing is that these guys are immigrants running these stores.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's a black American Muslim trying to tell them what to do.
Yeah, it just absolute insanity. And so you've got elements of Sharia law that they're trying to weave into everyday life. Now, do you remember? Yeah, I remember now. These were gas stations. Of course, pork as well. They don't like pork.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, were these gas stations were this cleric demanding that they can't sell pork in the gas stations as well?
Yep, no pork, no anything that would be considered haram. He was, and then the threat that they're going to bring people back to pressure these people into not being able to sell these items.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. That made the rounds.
It should be illegal in this country to try to enforce Sharia law over our law.
Any kind of Sharia law, absolutely. The left are going to tell you, by the way, that it's Islamophobic to say things like what Brandon Gill is saying or what I'm saying. Well, sorry, but if that's what they're trying to do, and they are, well, that is not compatible with an American way of life. So that's one of the questions I would have. The other question that I would have is, okay, so what is being taught in the mosques? Because we have caught some really radical stuff being taught in these mosques across the country as well. We've seen the radical teachings here in America. So, one way or another, radicalism is happening in America. And if you're going to sit here and say, no, it's not, okay, well then please tell me why this guy in Austin went into this bar and shot up the place wearing Property of Allah sweatshirt. Somebody please tell me, if radicalization is not happening here in America, then why did we see what happened at the Pulse nightclub shooting, Fort Hood, San Bernardino, Chattanooga? So you're going to have people that are, the radicalization is not. Yes, it is happening in America. Do you know I didn't know this. Did you know that there is a caucus, Brandon Gill is part of it, called Sharia Free America Caucus? And they're trying to pass legislation banning Sharia law inside of our borders. And so it's just really interesting. The next time I speak to one of our representatives, I'm going to ask them about that caucus and what they know about Brandon Gill. I'd love to get Brandon Gill on, actually, here on Nashville's Morning News to talk about that. Because, I mean, as you can imagine, Brandon Gill is just under all kinds of attack.
Make it happen, Dan.
Just for clarification, as to, you know, the Sharia law and how we're in Iran and everything, it's legal. It has been legal to marry children in Iran. For those that are unaware, it's legal age for girls who are considered 13 lunar years or older.
You ever see the pictures out of some of these nations in the Middle East? I don't know if it was specifically Iran, but where you have these poor little 13-year-old girls, and she's marrying some old dude. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like in his 60s.
And she's crying.
Mm-hmm.
It is horrifying. What happens? And so, no, this is not a culture that is symbiotic with ours. It simply is not. So, yeah, this is just one part of a much larger conversation about what is going on with the war in the Middle East, as we are doing everything that we possibly can to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. And we'll continue to talk about this and a whole lot more. By the way, Donald Trump yesterday, you'll remember, and by the way, Joan, I do have an update on the hijinks and shenanigans that happened yesterday during the Chris Hand show. We will talk about that coming up. Donald Trump made the case yesterday as far as why it is that we have gone now into Iran.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders.
So that is Donald Trump. And the Trump administration is out making the case for why they went into Iran, whether it's J.D. Vance, whether it is Donald Trump. I've got some great audio from Marco Rubio coming up as well. So the conversation does continue. It is 7:25 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, President Trump warning Iran that the big one is still on its way. We've got that coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. It is 7:25. By the way, Joan, Chris Hand has now admitted that he broke Cumulus Broadcasting Incorporated protocol, and he aired videos yesterday during his show 9 to 12.
Dun, dun, dun.
I will be contacting not only Atlanta, but also the legal offices in New York. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding. I applaud Chris for doing that. Should I also go against company protocol?
I think you should try. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
What are they going to do? Demote me again?
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Break the system? It's broken. It's been broken for months.
Chris, actually, he had to do that so that he could air Donald Trump's comments. That's why he did it. Contours, when I tell you about my friends at Contours, now summer, of course, is months away, but the work to get that beach bod back begins right now, and my friends at Contours, they can help you get that beach bod back with FDA-cleared red light technology. Now, Contours, they are going to help you target those areas that you hate, whether it is your belly, your arms, or your legs. Whatever problem area you have, they can solve that problem. No pain, no surgery, no downtime, just results. And heck, I usually I did yesterday, Joan. I fell asleep at Contours again. It's actually kind of embarrassing. So I usually fall asleep during my treatments. You can just sit back and relax as that fat does indeed melt away. Now, real men and women from Franklin and across Middle Tennessee have been checking out Contours and, yes, seeing real results. So your beach trip isn't that far away, friends. Let Contours help you get rid of those trouble spots. And right now, the first 10 callers get a special introductory price of just $99. Remember, you are going to see results or it is free. Call them right now at 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers gets that $99 special. 615-236-9960. Find them online. ContoursLLC.com. Contours, what have you got to lose but inches? Loan Pronto, Dan Mandis here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Loan Pronto, our high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances. Well, it is time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity in your home and get the cash you need so you can pay it all off. Now, Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto in a matter of days. They had $160,000. That's right. They kept their 3% mortgage intact, by the way. They didn't even need an appraisal. With all of that cash, they were able to wipe out all their credit cards, a couple of car loans as well, saving $2,000 a month. And you can do it too. LoanPronto.com is the website. Their rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Now, Chloe and Ethan did just that as well. Consolidated all their high interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine, pay off all those credit cards and slash your monthly payments. You can breathe easier and get your life back with the help of Loan Pronto. Interest rates right now at a 3-year low. Call Loan Pronto at 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. It's now 7:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. President Trump submitting a war powers notification to Congress yesterday over the military action in Iran.
President Trump saying, quote, "We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon."
Whatever the time is, it's okay, whatever it takes.
The president not ruling out ground troops in Iran, adding the U.S. is prepared for a prolonged conflict.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
But leaders within the administration say this will not be like previous wars in the Middle East.
That's ABC's Marcus Moore reporting in Doha. With construction underway on the Music City Loop, some residents near the project are feeling left out of the conversation. They met last night at the First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill, for a meeting led by State Senator Charlene Oliver. She spoke to News 2.
It has been one-sided, pushed by the Boring Company. But the Boring Company is not listening to us.
The group is asking for a meeting with Governor Bill Lee and the Boring Company to address concerns about the use of public land for what they call private enterprise. That is the latest.
Joan, don't they know that it's borrowed land anyway or stolen land? So what's the problem?
What's the problem? And besides, it's underground. It's not affecting anything.
I feel like, who are these people again? I've heard you do this story. I don't even understand. So who are they?
They're people that live near where the Music City Loop is being tunneled.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're upset that they weren't included, I guess.
All right.
Yeah. There you go. That's the latest
apparently
news.
nobody cares what their thoughts are. And here's the deal, is that it's already been approved. They can be and moan all that they want, but
It's going to happen,
this
right?
is something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I still don't think that they like Elon Musk. I think part of this is they're still complaining about Elon Musk.
I think you probably nailed it there.
Have you seen this thing, by the way, Jonah? You may have, but CNN is reporting, it just came up now, that our embassy in Saudi Arabia, take cover now.
Oh.
Is what they're saying.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
this just came up.
It.
So, yeah, just now. So, anyway, so we've gotten it. That's the thing, Joan. The news is just churning and breaking as we speak.
Yeah, for sure.
As we're
it just
speaking.
Goes
literally.
on and on. Yep.
All right, very good.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, carry on. This is your show.
I'm sorry.
I'm done.
You know what? I'm supposed to read a commercial here. Yeah. 7:35. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. Dan Mandis here. Let me give you a website, painisbad.com. Let me give you a phone number, 615-246-5009. That is the phone number that I called many, many years ago when I was riddled with chronic back and neck pain. They helped me many years ago. They can help you as well. Again, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 47% off right now. Back and neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes. Those can all be a memory, and a bad memory, of yesteryear, because they can help you at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They've got all kinds of machines and technology that can help you feel better fast. Of course, you know all about non-surgical spinal decompression. I've been talking about that forever. They've also got the Hydro Wave. Right now, you call this number, it's 615-246-5009. You get 47% off, but, you can experience robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryo machines, stem cell stimulation machines as well. All right there at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Check him out. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-246-5009. The website, painisbad.com. $7:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. I want to tell you about my friends at the Generator Super Center. If there's one thing we have learned over the last couple of months, is that we simply cannot count on NES or the government for anything, which is why I am reaching out to my friends at the Generator Super Center to start figuring out my needs. They can help you as well. Now, I learned about how important these backup home standby generators are during power outages during my time in Indiana a couple of years ago, many years ago now. Last couple of months, we know what happened to our power. Generator Super Center can help you keep the lights on when the lights go out in your neighborhood. So if you've been talking about, like a lot of people have been, whole home backup generators, they can help you at the Generator Supercenter. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. This is not only a huge investment in your home, but also your family's safety. They do feature expert installation. They do feature 24-hour monitoring. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available at 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. .739 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Randy says the Super Text line very active today. I'm sorry that I haven't been more interactive with it. Randy says, don't you break corporate policy anytime you say something that could be construed as any way supportive of President Trump? Actually, no. I know that there is this, what would you call it? This impression that people get.
Suspicion.
This suspicion that the company is always pressuring us not to say, conservative things. No, the company actually, the less they know about what we say, the better. But I will also say, I'm just kidding. The company's fine with what we do and what we say. I know that there's a lot of people that do have their, as you said, Sam, their suspicions that the company is always trying to make us say liberal things, but they really don't, as a matter of fact. And the company has been, by and large, very supportive. And, we all joke about the cameras, but the reality is that we are getting, apparently, as I said yesterday, a whole new camera system, and I cannot wait. It is going to blow your minds if we're able to do what the company is saying we might be able to do, if we can get all the funding improved and stuff. Do you think if we did like a GoFundMe, Sam, do you think they'd get mad at us?
That was weird.
No, you don't think we should do a GoFundMe for the new cameras?
I think they might get mad.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time I've made them mad. Anyway, moving right along. So there is a lot
Do it anyway, Dan, because it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Stoking the flames here, aren't we, Joan?
I think it makes you a hero, Dan.
Listen to Joan.
Yeah, we'll give you a cape.
I feel like you're getting set up, man. You may have done something.
You know what? Joan wants me to get suspended so she can get all the fill-in work. That's what it is. By the way, Joan, you're filling in just very quickly. Then I'm going to get back to business. You're filling in for
Chris Hand.
Chris Hand in not next week, but the week after.
No, in June. It's in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I know people.
One hell of a tease.
I know. You stick around till June, you people.
You know what? I hope that people do. Hey, can I? I want to play this. I want to play this audio from Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Anna Navarro. Now, I played this in the 5 o'clock hour, but I do want to play it again because there's so many people, and I'm getting hit up on the super text line as well about the Epstein files and all that. Elizabeth Hasselbeck, by the way, did we find out, is she permanently back on The View, or is she just like filling in for somebody?
I think that, what's her name, Alyssa Farah?
Yeah.
Is out on maternity leave. And I think Elizabeth Hasselbeck is filling in.
Why did she leave The View anyway? She lives here, Didn't she live here in Nashville? I think she does. Yeah, I think so. I might be getting my female conservatives mixed up, but I believe that she lives in Nashville. And I think she's got a celebrity husband, too. I don't know.
Former NFL quarterback Tim Hasselbeck. However, Matt is the one that played for the Titans.
Okay. I'll just play the audio. How about we do that?
Yeah.
You went there.
I clearly, she does live here, though?
I'm still looking.
Okay. Clearly, I'm not into celebrity, but let's play what she said. This is Anna Navarro talking about how Donald Trump is trying to cover up the Epstein files.
So I look at Donald Trump and I look at Netanyahu and I see two leaders who I think politically they benefit from war. Netanyahu is facing criminal charges for corruption back home. Donald Trump is facing very low numbers and Epstein files that are not, and we will not let go away. I do think.
So that is so dumb. So let's just cover those one by one. Number one, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, you can say what you want about Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of people don't like him, whatever. But Donald Trump tried everything to avoid this. Would you say that's true, Joan? I think that Donald Trump tried everything to avoid this. And by the way, Donald Trump knows more than anyone else that his polling numbers, when you're doing something that is sort of a preventive attack, if you will, where it's like, okay, so we believe that they're going to do something, so we're going to act first to prevent it from happening. Well, clearly that is not going to go well for Donald Trump because people, by and large, and this is just common sense thinking, people who are not as dialed in as other people don't really understand the reasoning behind said attack. So that's number one. But number two is, to say that, Donald Trump is trying to cover up the Epstein files. Donald Trump is clearly not someone to send our troops into harm's way just willy-nilly. He's just not. He tried everything he could to negotiate with Iran, and then ultimately he had to do what he had to do. I love, though, what Elizabeth and my commentary is for Anna Navarro. This whole he's trying to cover up the Epstein, that's third grade. I believe this is third grade analysis. But anyway, this is what Elizabeth Hasselbeck had to say.
I do think it's threefold. One, we have 47 million Iranian women who now have a hope of freedom. That's a good thing. Okay, we have an disgusting terrorist regime ended. And the people finally have hope to create their own nation again. Okay, so that's the hope. When we zoom out in geopolitical realm, okay, which is not my specialty either, but I have a ton of friends in the military who specialize in this. We see that this is actually avoiding a boots on the ground war with China when we are able to choke their oil supply, and the president and our military are exemplary in doing so right now. They've cut the oil supply from Venezuela, and they've now reduced it and choked the oil supply to China in Iran. And now what that does is presumably prevent China from having an absolute stronghold on the globe. So this is a strategic move geopolitically that we may not fully understand, but I absolutely trust that this is best for our nation, and we should be America first.
So there you go. And yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. And we talked about this when we arrested Maduro. We talked about this when we started going after, remember the whole thing, Joan, with the ghost ships? When we started getting those ghost ships, and now with Iran. So a number of things that we do in the Middle East and what we're doing right now can have multiple impact points. Number one, as Elizabeth Hasselbeck said, and yes, she does live in Middle Tennessee. Thank you, Sam. So a number of things can be true. Number one, we could be giving the Iranian people hope. Because remember, our war is with the Iranian regime, not with the people of Iran. There is a reason why you have thousands or millions of people taking to the streets of Iran. And by the way, here in this country as well, where they are thanking Donald Trump. So that's number one. Number two, conversely, what we're doing in Iran could impact China because China gets a ton of oil from Iran as well. So if we can accomplish, a couple of different things by attacking Iran, well, then okay. That's fine.
Did you hear Steve Witkoff talking about the negotiations?
I don't know. You tell me.
So he said on the very first day, Iran essentially admitted to, without shame, he said, that they have enough enriched uranium to make 11 nuclear bombs within days. Listen, he was on, I think, Sean Hannity. Yeah, he was on Sean Hannity last night talking about it.
Sean, can be brought to 90%. That's weapons grade, in roughly 1 week, maybe 10 days at the outside. The 20% can be brought to weapons grade inside of 3 to 4 weeks. And let me say this, because I forgot this small little detail. In that first meeting, both the Iranian negotiators said to us directly, with no shame, that they controlled 460 kilograms of 60%, and they're aware that that could make 11 nuclear bombs, and that was the beginning of their negotiating stance.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, when he says Iran, they're unapologetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have been arrogant. They've been dismissive. They've been hostile. And frankly, I think that Donald Trump has been, what are the patience of Job dealing with Iran? Because, I mean, I think personally, if he wanted to do this, he had justification a long time ago. So for
he did the same thing with Maduro, gave him a chance.
Yes.
Do it, buddy, do it, buddy, do it, buddy. And he wouldn't do it. So, we're going to take you out.
Then he literally said, come and get me, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, I guess I got to go down there.
Yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. And remember that, Iran was, making noise when President Trump was thinking about doing this, considering this, and Iran was flexing. And they said, yeah, go ahead, make our day. So that's exactly what Donald Trump did. And now, you've got El Khamenei and the 48 or 49 others that worked with him, all dead. And so they, instead of chanting death to America, they got death from America. Thank you very much. That's a joke from the super text line.
Yeah. Okay.
Shut up, Joan. I thought that was good. Hey, by the way, have you seen the...
you sound so white.
The women's soccer team, the Iranian women's soccer team, refusing to sing the Iranian national anthem?
Yep.
I think it's pretty cool.
It was powerful.
They're very powerful. They had, and I'm actually, what I was thinking about, well, should I play the Iranian national anthem, which, by the way, this is a new national anthem that was instituted in the 90s. And so they have a number of different national anthems, I guess, related to Iran. You've got the one from pre-1979, and then you have the one post-1979 that is more closely aligned with the Islamic Republic that took over in 1979. So they refused to sing it before the soccer match at, this, I don't know, it was the Asian Cup. It was the Asian Cup. I don't follow soccer. But it was right before one of the Asian Cup games. And I guess they lost to South Korea, but whatever. So, I mean, good for them. They do put their lives on the line by doing that, by the way. So that took a lot of guts for them to do that. And I was going to play the audio of it, but then I'd be playing the Iranian national anthem, which I decided not to do. It is 7:52 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news at 8. Joan.
Hey, there is a new candidate for governor of Tennessee that I want to tell you about. Could be a new candidate. How's that? And residents in Donaldson fed up with the homeless camps. Those stories coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:52. Listen, when something goes wrong in your home, you want the team that shows up fast, fixes it right, and treats you like family. Enter my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I've been a client of theirs for years. They are your trusted pros for total home comfort. And right now, it is the perfect time to upgrade. When you purchase a 16-SEER high-efficiency HVAC system or a whole home repipe, Busy Bee is going to give you a Yeti Tundra 45 cooler absolutely free. That's right, a Yeti cooler when you work through my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And this month only, Busy Bee has TVA rebates available as well for tune-ups and unit replacements. Even better, their team files all the paperwork for you. No hassle, no headaches, and if you want even more savings, join the Beehive Club like I did years ago. A Beehive Club membership is worth the money. It keeps your home humming year-round. Members get priority scheduling, discounted repairs, free annual HVAC and plumbing checks, and extended warranties as well. And by the way, you also get peace of mind knowing your equipment is always running at its best. It is the easiest way to save money, avoid breakdowns, and protect your home. Call them at 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. $7:57 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I typically don't pay attention to such things.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time keeping my own life together and my own career together. Like every day I try not to get fired. So apparently CBS News, is there some sort of a merger happening between like CBS News and CNN and so forth?
Sort of. So Paramount, how does it?
Paramount Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so they'll all get caught up in that.
Okay.
CNN and CBS will be under the same umbrella.
So Jim Acosta has some thoughts because apparently, because, Barry Weiss and CBS, Barry Weiss is now head of CBS News.
Yeah.
And she's not conservative. This is the thing that I don't understand.
Right, I know.
They're calling her conservative. She just wants, like actual journalism.
Yeah.
Not just biased journalism. But anyway, so apparently Jim Acosta, right? Everybody knows Jim Acosta. He is said to be panicking at the thought of Scott Jennings actually getting his own show within all of this merger that's been going on. I want to just play this audio because I do find it funny because he is absolutely freaking out because, by and large, and I don't know if there's a lot of journalists even out there these days, but Jim Acosta certainly is not one of them. And by the way, Scott Jennings isn't either. But it does seem to me that he calls balls and strikes. But anyway, listen to Jim Acosta freaking out.
Do we want Scott Jennings anchoring the CBS Evening News or anchoring AC 360 and talking about what a great president Donald Trump is and how he's the best president since George Washington and Abraham Lincoln? What kind of crazy Stranger Things upside down world are we going to become if that's the kind of news and information that we have pumping out over the airwaves in this country?
It's so funny. And I don't know if Scott Jennings has said that Donald Trump is the greatest president since George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. I mean, Donald Trump says such things. But it's interesting because I can just tell you that from what Jim Acosta and MSNBC and CNN have done, I mean, their stuff is just as biased as anything he's reporting, but just on the other side. And by the way, I will also mention that on Fox News, they have a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more balance to what they do than CNN did under Jim Acosta. I think they may be getting a little bit better, but I don't really watch it enough to know. But I have seen clips, for example, on Abby Phillips' show, where sometimes they'll even have not one but two conservatives on a panel.
Two?
It sounds to me that that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. All you have to do is go inside his twisted mind. I mean, just the other day, he was tweeting about sending a hospital boat to Greenland. He can't even stay awake at his own events. And this is the guy who's gonna
kind of funny. He's talking about Donald Trump not being able to stay awake at events when Jim Acosta literally slept through Joe Biden sleepwalking through 4 years of his presidency.
Yeah.
I got to go. 8 o'clock, WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and let's get the latest on Iran from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. More explosions in Iran as the U.S. and Israel step up their attacks. Israel also sending new ground troops into Lebanon after Hezbollah fired rockets into northern Israel. Iran striking back. ABC News Chief International Correspondent James Longman is in northern Iraq.
The U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia struck by 2 Iranian drones hitting overnight. No injuries reported, but U.S. officials warn of an ongoing threat, with at least 8 other drones intercepted in surrounding cities. And an urgent warning this morning from the State Department, telling all Americans in the Middle East, from Egypt to Saudi Arabia and Israel, to depart now via commercial transportation, issuing evacuation orders for non-emergency personnel and family members in at least 6 countries.
Iran threatening to attack ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. That's helping drive oil prices higher in trading this morning, but stock markets poised to fall sharply at the opening bell. This is ABC News.
Closer to home, there could be a new candidate for governor. Astronaut Butch Wilmore is doing his due diligence on a potential campaign. It'll determine whether he'll run for that seat. Wilmore needs 25 signatures on a petition filed by noon, March 10th. That's next Tuesday, in order to run. He filed as a Republican, meaning he would go toe-to-toe with Marsha Blackburn and John Rose. Wilmore has said that He's been praying about it for 15 years. Residents in the Donaldson area fed up with homeless camps and the trash that's piling up because of them. Jane Schnell tells News 2 that she hosts litter cleanups near the Stones River Greenway. But right after the cleanup, the trash starts piling up again.
It's illegal to camp on state property, period. So that encampment under the bridge should be gone. It's illegal to camp on a Metro Greenway. So, I don't understand why that takes so long.
Schnell says that she has reported the issues to Hub Nashville, but so far there's been no action to clear the camps. And there's news about 2 Smoothie King employees who refused service to a couple in Michigan because the husband was wearing a Trump sweatshirt.
Yeah, we don't support that. Our company's not about that. We're not really comfortable with that. Okay, well, you can have a great day because we have the right to refuse service, so.
Smoothie King says the franchise owner of that location has fired the 2 employees, and they're going to retrain employees so it doesn't happen again. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got a half hour before the opening bell. Woof. The Dow Jones Industrials futures are down 872 right now. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. You've got the problems in Jolton this morning because of some paving work. It's on 24 westbound at Whites Creek, and 2 right lanes are blocked off by it. Antioch Bell Road at 24, that's the scene of a crash. Got another one in East Bank on Interstate Drive at Shelby Avenue. Green Hills, Woodmont Boulevard at Hillsborough Pike, and on Myatt Drive in Madison at DuPont Avenue. Very slow northbound on 65 this morning, all the way from Spring Hill into Nashville. And not as bad this morning. It is slow on 24 westbound, just through the Laverne area into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, you were reporting something about a greenway?
Yeah.
What is going on?
It's at the Stones River Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
There is a homeless encampment underneath a bridge, and the trash piles up, and it's like beer cans and used needles. And so the people in that area, they clean it up and they leave the trash bags out and they call Hub Nashville, and nothing gets done.
The people that are complaining, Joan, they're homeless phobic.
Clearly.
Homeless phobic. I'm gonna try to make that happen. They're homeless phobic.
It's unhoused phobia.
Unhoused phobia is another one.
Phobia. I like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And it's funny that they complain about this trash and what the homeless people are leaving behind when it's such a small scale compared to places like San Francisco, Philadelphia, LA, where you could step on a needle on a sidewalk. So I guess be glad it's just the Greenway.
Yeah.
People have to choose in like places like Los Angeles and so forth. They have to choose. It's like playing hopscotch. Remember when, Sam, I know that you played hopscotch a lot when you were in elementary school.
We played the floor is lava, but similar concept.
Yes.
So that's what it's like walking in L.A., where it's like, okay, am I going to step on the needle or the big pile of crap?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Or is there a needle within the big pile of crap?
That's exactly right.
And now you've got hepatitis.
Do you know what somebody ought to do? Joan, do you remember the song by Missing Persons, Walking in L.A.?
Yeah.
Somebody ought to do like a cover of Walking in L.A., but do it like today, Walking in L.A., where nobody walks in L.A. because of the crap and the needles and so on and so forth, and all the homeless people.
Yeah.
Mark Cohn, Walking in Memphis.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis.
Well, now Walking in Memphis is a lot better these days because
it is, but that rhythm would work more for what you're talking about because that should be an AI version of that, just like someone AI'd Trump on the whole Iran song. I don't know if we got to that yesterday.
The Iran, that's Iran so far away, and it's Donald Trump doing that. You know, you want to play that? We'll play that at the 8:35 crisscross handoff. Maybe we'll show it as a video. And I can blame Chris because he'll be in the studio. Have you heard what Israel did, by the way, Joan, to, but just one real quick. Why won't they do anything? Why won't the hub do anything here in Nashville?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Do you know how long it took to clean up some of these homeless encampments across the city? Like, why does it take so long? It's like, they're here, do something about it now. And that's literally one phone call. Like, do you know how long there was an encampment, and then I'm going to move on, but there was an encampment in Hermitage. It was a homeless encampment, and every day I would have to drive by that Hermitage encampment. You got the homeless people walking around. There's I think it's a Kroger right there at the Hermitage encampment.
Oh, okay.
And I stopped going to that Kroger.
Yeah.
Because I'd get hit up for money by the homeless zombies that are walking around the damn parking lot. And I don't know why this is so hard. It's like they're there, take care of it, send them someplace else, do something about it. The poor people in Hermitage, they had homeless people in their backyard. They had homeless people walking around crapping on their front lawn. And the people in the folks in Nashville, the people in charge in Nashville, I don't have the story in front of me, but you know, the people who are fighting these homeless encampments, I had her on the air a couple of different times. It's like, why don't they do anything? They're here. It's not like they're hiding. They're here. Follow the trail of needles and feces.
Yeah.
So,
God,
we've been corrected in the YouTube chat on the proper terminology here. It's hobophobic.
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 Isn't hobo like along the same lines as retarded? Like, you don't use that word anymore.
I didn't think so.
Hobo?
No.
Yeah. I thought it was the softer of the. Yeah, I thought hobo was softer than homeless.
Well, hobo is like the person you were on Halloween when you were a kid and you put the stick over your shoulder with a
makeshift rucksack.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the word hobo.
Hobophobic kind of rolls off the tongue.
Hobophobic
better.
Sounds really good, actually.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, chat.
Chad in the chat.
Chad. Okay. Is it our Chad? Chad.
I don't know.
Chatty Chad.
Chad Hulse.
All right.
Thanks, Chad.
Did you hear what? Moving on. Did you hear what? How Israel tracked Khamenei? Have you heard about this, Joe?
Yeah, I have heard about it. Yep.
Israel hacked security cameras and phones to track Khamenei so that we knew exactly where he was when it was time to take him out. So when Donald Trump said, "We know where you are," he wasn't just messing around. Because remember, it was a couple months ago, right, when he threatened Khamenei, the Iran's now currently dead, supreme leader, and Donald Trump said, "We know where you are." And you're going to get the first what are bombs made of?
Explosive material.
You're going to get the first taste of explosive material because we know where you are. And Trump wasn't bluffing. He was literally trying to warn the guy. Israel, they say, spent years hacking Tehran's traffic cameras and penetrating mobile phone networks to monitor the movements of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei and his security detail ahead of his assassination, the Financial Times reported, citing multiple current and former Israeli intelligence officials and other people familiar with the operation. This is why we're never going to get the cameras in Nashville. Like the Metro Council will now be able to say, well, look what they did to Khamenei. We can't possibly have those in Nashville. No, is it just me? All right, moving on. I love that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. And I think this is probably why they are able to get, because, you know, they killed the guy that took over for Khamenei too, right? So that's 2 down, and there's going to be, you know, many more to go because they're just like cockroaches. They have these guys serving. You're gonna have to kill a lot of them, right? They're like cockroaches. You just can't get rid of them. I think that's amazing, though. Just hacking into everything. People are saying, "Yeah, this is what they want. This is what America wants to do to us. This is what our government wants to do to us." I'm reasonably certain America is not going to be, you know, taking us out like they did with Khamenei.
Yeah, the amount of things the American government security forces let fall through the cracks should shock you.
Yeah, like what?
Well, just the amount of school shooters or other threats of mass terror that are then followed through on.
Right.
That aren't taken seriously.
We lose a lot of stuff. I can't. The Florida school shooting. Parkland. Yeah, they had tips on Parkland.
And he posted about his desires and everything in videos, and they did nothing to intervene in some aspect. And you're thinking they're going to track you down and drone bomb you in your bed?
Yep. Also, Iran launches an attack on the largest U.S. base in the Middle East. Donald Trump is warning. You know, he's been saying, don't do this. And Iran has been saying the gates of hell will open. So this is the very latest. Iran has launched attacks on America's largest base in the Middle East, warning Donald Trump that the gates of hell will open. The Islamic regime's army said Tuesday its forces were launching attacks on Udeid, U-D-E-I-D, Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar.
Sounds right.
Thank you, Joan. Which hosts up to 10,000 troops and serves as a major forward headquarters for U.S. Central Command. This just got posted on the Daily Mail. So, you know, news just continues to break here. Let's see here. More breaking news on CNN. Trump, Iran wants to talk, and Donald Trump says, I said it was too late.
You had your chance.
You had your chance.
Now I'm going to have to finish you off.
Here's what I don't understand, Joan. And maybe you can explain it to me. I think I know the answer to this. So Iran is saying they want to talk, but then Iran says they don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Then they said they do want to talk. Then they said they don't want to talk. So are we talking about different factions within Iran?
I think so. Of course, you've got the leftovers from the previous administration, from the Ayatollah, the avuncular gentleman with the long beard who likes poetry.
My God. Are you quoting the Washington Post?
I am.
The Washington Post. Let's do this real quick. At 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, windy and warmer and a high of 74. All right, so, yeah, the Washington Post, was this part of their, this was like a bio
yes.
on Al Khamenei after we killed him.
And you have to imagine that they pre-wrote this. I mean, they have these eulogies, these set up already for people who are older. So that when somebody
Obituaries.
dies, thank you. When somebody dies, somebody notable, they've already got it prepared.
Well,
and,
Bill Clinton, I'm here to tell you, Bill Clinton
yeah.
and
Oh, yes.
Joe Biden, their obituaries are already written.
Everybody, yes. Everybody of note.
Yeah.
You and I probably don't have such a thing because, we're nobodies.
Yes.
But so Washington Post said this. With his bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure in public than his perpetually scowling but much more revered mentor. And he was known to be fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels.
Avuncular, by the way, is uncle-like.
Yes.
Right? So very
feeling
just...
like your uncle your favorite uncle that you love.
Yep.
Yeah. While he's, chopping your head off and removing your eyes, which he was known to
ordering
do.
the assassination of 30,000 protesters.
Right.
Yeah, real avuncular.
Yeah.
Washington, but that is amazing that they posted that, knowing what he did to, obviously those 30,000 protesters, but even beyond that, just knowing how evil his administration is and has been for the Washington Post to report that. And they've done this before. Right? The Washington Post is famous for these very flowery and complimentary bios or obituaries on these very controversial figures. I'm sure that they said, Hitler loved bratwurst. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was just a painter.
He was just a painter.
He just liked landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
He also, especially the Washington Post, let everyone know that the Ayatollah really loved Victor Hugo's Les Miserables.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except for the part where the women's faces and hair were exposed.
Right,
I was pretty angry about that.
It's, that they still have a building. It is, I can't even, why do they exist? Why does the Washington Post even exist?
Well, they're close to not existing. Didn't they just let go? What is it? 500 people? Is that what it was?
Yeah. A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. And, they're going by the wayside, Washington Post, and it's tone-deaf posts like that will lead to, Washington Post, right? Democracy dies in darkness.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to go, into the darkness. So anyway, it is 8:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jason says, that's a beautiful eulogy. Was that for John Wayne Gacy? All right. Joan's got the news coming up at 8:30. Joan, what do you got?
Yeah, the Trump administration set to brief both chambers of Congress today. We've got details coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Mark Spain Real Estate, the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. It is the easiest way to sell your home. You're going to save time and make the most money. Dan Mandis here. Now, you can say goodbye to the stress that comes with showings and open houses and costly home repairs. My friends at Mark Spain Real Estate, they are going to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Now, one of their satisfied clients, Steve, said this: my experience with Mark Spain Real Estate was beyond 5 stars. Not only did I get an amazing offer on my home, but we closed quickly as well. He says, I'm so appreciative of Mark Spain Real Estate. Now, Steve's not alone. Mark Spain Real Estate has over 13,000 5-star reviews, and they sell more than 38 homes every single day, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. Trust Mark Spain to provide the strongest cash offer in the industry. Sell your home hassle-free. Find out what the guaranteed offer is on your home today. There's no obligation. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. This is markspain.com, and start packing. 826, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, Joan, when our listeners speak, I listen. Sheila has sent me a private message on Messenger, and she says, Tim Burchett just made a post, and if you love America, everyone needs to hear this. All right, so I'll play along. Are we in delay? Because we know that Tim Burchett can drop the a-hole.
I just know I have a button to push.
Okay, very good. Whether it works or not is not our problem.
Exactly.
So Tim Burchett, a little bit ago, headlined, the Democrats canceled Homeland Security during a time of national emergency.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Woke up this morning, been thinking about sleeper cells and things like that, you know. And
yep.
In the last 4 years, the Biden administration, with their borders open, we know that folks came in over the border that want to do us a great deal of harm. You always hear military fighting men's age. That just seemed to swamp our borders. And now with the conflict in Iran, knowing that we have a lot of Iranians here that are not friendly to this country, it's crazy. It is completely crazy that the Democrats have defunded Homeland Security during all this. I wish our leadership would just call for a vote just on that, redo it, and make them vote. Make them vote to just see where they're at.
You know, I'll say this as you're walking into his office, and we'll finish it. But in the news today, and I did cover it earlier, was the fact that now the Daily Mail, and I think some others may be reporting on it now as well, but the sleeper cells have been activated. If you missed that part of the show, you can find a podcast, whatever. But there are a lot of people now that are very, very worried that Tehran has activated the sleeper cells, and whether these are homegrown terrorists or if these are people that have been here a long time, like the Austin shooter, or if it's people that snuck in over the border when Joe Biden, well, they didn't sneak in, they just walked right on over under Joe Biden's administration. There's a lot of worry that we are going to start seeing some attacks here at home.
Homeland Security right now, because it is a real issue, and it goes back to what I've been saying. I don't know, some of these Democrats, who do they hate more, the President of the United States, President Trump, or the United States of America? Because they are surely right now putting politics above principle, and it's a disgrace. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Thank you all for sending me here.
He's such a ray of sunshine. Tim Burchett. I love him, by the way. I do. And
his honesty, he wears on his sleeve.
He does. Yeah. And by the way, he is right. We talked yesterday about how we do have the partial government shutdown. And one of the departments, if you will, that is shut down is cybersecurity. The part of the Department of Homeland Security that protects us regarding cybersecurity and cyber warfare. And we all know that Iran and their ally China, of course, our enemy, both very good at cyber warfare. And the Democrats, in their infinite wisdom, have shut down that part of the Department of Homeland Security. Tim Burchett is absolutely right. It is 8:30 on WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, the conflict in Iran enters its fourth day today, and Americans are being urged to get out of the Middle East right away. President Trump, meantime, is taking action here at home.
Overnight, the president sent formal notification of these strikes to the Hill, but Democrats are demanding that this war be put to a vote, and the House is expected to take up a war powers resolution later this week. That would block any further U.S. military action in Iran without congressional approval, but that is unlikely to become law.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce. Is the president obligated to accept the War Powers Act? Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio on that.
There's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of 8 briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%.
Now, he was speaking with reporters about that yesterday. A third person has now died after the potential terror attack on a bar in Austin, Texas.
This is Jim Ryan. The bloodshed in Austin's popular nightclub district came a day after the Department of Homeland Security issued a warning about potential lone wolf terror attacks coming in response to the U.S.-led military strikes on Iran. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis.
Everybody better be on heightened alert. You know, what happens across the country, we all need to be aware of.
Images of the suspect moments before he was killed by police show him wearing a sweatshirt that read, "Property of Allah." Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Now, despite the heightened threat, Democrats say they have no plans to end their blockade of DHS funding. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. What a start on Wall Street. Wow, the Dow Jones Industrials minus 824 right now. The NASDAQ falling 407. S&P is down 104 points. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 832 on Super Talk 99.7. So you've done your firearms training, but have you ever wondered if you're ready? Really ready to meet the moment when your life, maybe your family's life, is on the line? Well, the Glock store does want to make sure that you're ready. And that's why I am so glad that I did my training at the Glock store and their Shoot 270 indoor ranges. Now, I've done it all at the Glock store. I love the Glock store. But, you know, I've done low light, no light training, one-on-one instruction as well. Next up, the Glock store has taken their training to an all-new level with their force-on-force simunition exercise. That's right. They put you in a simulated situation where deadly force may be necessary to save your life or someone else's. Now, this is where it gets real, as they say, armed with a Glock 17T, which, by the way, is used to train SWAT and U.S. Special Forces. You can test your reflexes, your marksmanship, making split-second decisions in a realistic life-or-death live-action simulation. It is amazing. So here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. Go to shoot270.com, click on training, then go to classes. That is shoot270.com, training, and then classes. The Glock store, real training for real-life situations, only at shoot270.com and only at the Glock store.
Still a mess on 24 West in Joelton because of paving work at Whites Creek Pike. 2 right lanes have been blocked off by it. Franklin, 65 northbound before McEwen Drive, exit 67. That is a stalled out tractor trailer that's blocking 2 right lanes. Blackman, 840 westbound past Veterans Parkway, exit 50. A crash that takes out 1 right lane there. And in Antioch, you've got Bell Road at I-24, a crash scene in that area. Also, I-440 eastbound at 65, a crash on the right exit lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, yo, the flies in the room, yeah, you know it's me. Hating on him cause he started out here locally. Hopefully, I'll be at the top soon. For now, I'm at my house.
So I feel like, Joan, that we need to have an intervention with Sam.
No, you gotta wait. You gotta wait. The best part's coming. It's coming.
Is it?
It is.
We won't know when it's here because we can't understand it.
No. Whole thing is horrible.
This is Mac Miller, Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. Mac.
So this is a pro-Trump song, so I should tolerate it. Okay. Can we be done? Like, seriously, can we be done? Like, just take this down.
Take it down.
Making my ears bleed.
What are you doing, Sam?
Now, did you hear do you know the song, Sam, Iran, the one with the fly? Do you have that one? So somebody did an AI version of Iran, So Far Away with the Flock of Sea. You know that song, right?
Yep.
So have you seen should we? Oh, God.
Yeah, so instead they call this,
we can't.
Donald Trump and the Flock of Eagles.
Donald Trump and the Flock of Eagles.
Yes.
Okay, so
now just programming note. You had a problem with Mac Miller, but this you would make as your ringtone, I'm pretty sure.
Feel like I'm getting deja vu. This is like a rock war number 2. A rock war number 2. I like the look of those oil supplies. I'd be ashamed if someone invaded you. If someone invaded you.
That's awesome.
And I ran so far away. From Iran, from them night and day. But destroy USA.
I like it.
I mean, and the funny thing is, Joan, you haven't seen the video, but they've got Donald Trump in a Flock of Seagulls haircut, which astonishingly looks kind of like his actual haircut.
Got Rubio on the drums. Vance is playing bass. Hegseth playing lead guitar.
That's very funny. Gotta love it.
So random, but, all the kids can read now. And the other day we were in the car, and I Ran by a Flock of Seagulls came on, and my 8-year-old goes, I Ran by a Flock of Seagulls? That's a weird name for a song.
He's not wrong.
You did you like my idea, by the way? Somebody has to do an updated version of like Walking in LA by Missing Persons, but have it do like reality, like when you're walking in LA, you're stepping over feces and a homeless person and needles. I think that would be funny. Like somebody's got to do an AI thing of that.
I'd have to hear the original.
You've never heard of Missing Persons and Walking in LA?
Have not.
But you know that crap that he just played?
I did.
Mac Miller?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Mac Miller's crap. I'm sure he's wonderful.
How dare you?
First of all, he was wonderful.
You're besmirching the dead.
Secondly, he definitely outsold Missing Persons.
100%.
That's what you think.
No.
That's factual.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Moving right along. Hey, did you have you watched any of the Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious!
This would be a great day to play video on the stream. Because I think you get a lot more from her facial expressions and body language.
You know what? She looks like a mad wife, actually. That was a peek into Bill Clinton's life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine, I'm going to play some audio, but can you imagine that face hurling a lamp at you? Because isn't that what she did when she found out about Monica Lewinsky? She like threw a lamp at him or something?
Was it a lamp or a plate?
I don't remember. Which one was it?
Yeah.
Chris, do you remember which one was it, a plant or a plate?
But I prefer to think about the plate. I like to think of it as expensive china and something that you could really get some speed on. I picture a Frisbee motion.
See, would you rather have...
Oh, you were right. I just looked it up.
Oh, it was a lamp?
It was a lamp or possibly a book or a Bible during a heated argument at the White House in 1993.
Joan,
there was no Bible, I know.
You know they don't own a Bible.
I know.
So...
You said 93?
93.
Weird.
What?
I'm seeing 98.
Okay. You can see whatever you want, Sam.
Interesting how Google tries to obfuscate for the Clintons.
Would you rather have a plant or a plate thrown at you, Chris?
Oh,
I think a plant would be easier to dodge.
Yes, that's exactly where I'm going.
Mhm.
Dodgeability score.
Dodgeability score.
I think the plant scores higher than the plate.
But a lamp could nail you in the head and give you a big egg on your head.
Yeah, but so could a plate.
Yeah, as weird as it sounds, I feel more confident in dodging a larger object coming towards me than a smaller object.
Take the risk of getting hit, into account. Would you rather be struck by a plate or a lamp?
Lamp.
Lamps are between those two.
It's going to be
it's
going to be harder to throw a lamp, especially if it's a girl.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, to be fair,
Mr. Sexist.
nothing a girl's throwing at me is very much terrifying. But I do believe.
Oh, you guys are such sexist pigs.
I do believe that the Frisbee motion would gain more speed.
If it's a Frisbee motion. Suppose she throws it end over end.
Do you think she threw that thing overhand?
No, but I think
that's what anger would dictate. Yeah,
well, anger would dictate
overhand throw.
Okay, yeah.
Joan, what have you thrown at John?
I haven't thrown anything at John
recently.
It's because she is. Well, I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Don't do it, Dan.
No way.
Do it.
Because not only would I be sexist, but Joan would get mad at me because then I'm being ageist.
Oh.
No! I might have to throw something at you as you're walking down the hall.
I was going to say, Joan's a little older now, and so her arm isn't what it once was, and so she can't hurl that lamp John's way.
All right.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I'm just saying.
Picture Joan winding up like a shot put motion. She does a full 360 before she launches that thing.
Every morning I go in to say hello to Joan. Tomorrow she's going to have a lamp in her hand, and I'm going to cross that corner, and it's going to hit me right there in the head.
You betcha.
We're calling you Dan Lamptus.
Oh.
Anyway, so this is Hillary Clinton. And have you noticed, well, real quick, this was Hillary getting really, really angry at Nancy Mace during the Epstein testimony, just real
That's the
quick.
question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a survivor trying to look out for other survivors trying to
and
take
I
account
was
of it.
taking care
You
of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to
lost
get here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I
about
have met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors.
So this is how it went yesterday.
Wow. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If
used
you
to
have an
get
email
money.
with me asking Jeffrey Epstein for money,
I have an email from Howard Lutnick sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to raise money for
I don't
you
know about
for an event, an intimate event for you at his offices at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would let me finish.
obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I didn't.
Epstein when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event.
Didn't he? Epstein gave her like thousands of dollars, didn't he?
To the Clinton Global
to
Initiative.
the Clinton Global
Oh,
Initiative. It wasn't
okay.
to her personally.
But is anybody really thinking that Hillary didn't know anything about
No.
Epstein?
No, of course.
She had an office in the West Wing, and he visited the White House 17 times.
Yeah, there's
no way.
clearly.
There's no way.
Clearly. Here's what I find interesting is that you've got Hillary talking about, why don't you pull in, Donald Trump and all that. But then you have Bill Clinton, basically he was exonerating Donald Trump. Listen to this.
I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question.
You'll notice, by the way, Bill knows, Chris, what he's going to say. So he's slowly looking around the room to make sure that Hillary doesn't have a lamp in her hand. Okay.
She's not in the room, is she?
Never, the president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. That's the truth. As I said earlier, the only conversation I had with President Trump about this was in the early 2000s. And I have no information that he did anything wrong. I just want it all out there. I want everybody to get it all out there and let everybody see where we are.
So you think that Hillary and Bill are at odds over Donald Trump's participation in the whole Epstein thing?
I think they might be at odds that Bill Clinton isn't weaponizing it for political use. But I don't know. Did she watch his whole deposition? Or did he just walk out and say, it was great, we were good, we're good?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
they probably deposed him separately.
Well, yeah, they deposed him separately.
Yeah, well,
It was
they did.
2 different days.
Hillary was first, and then Bill Clinton. And Hillary clearly has it out for Donald Trump. And Bill, I mean, you can tell he's just like, Donald Trump never said anything to me about being involved in what happened on the plane and the island and all that kind of stuff. And
so if you're keeping score at home, for the left who has used this as a political bludgeon against Donald Trump, we now have defense attorney Bradley Edwards, who represented 70-plus Epstein victims, saying that Donald Trump helped him in the investigations and actually gave him actionable information.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Palm Beach Police Department saying that Donald Trump reached out to them and said, you need to investigate Epstein, but you also need to look at Maxwell. And now we have Bill Clinton. So is it time to just end the facade of Donald Trump is implicated in the Epstein files?
I think so, but they won't. I don't know if you heard when you were coming in, Anna Navarro, and basically this is a very familiar thing the left is saying. Well, Trump is invading Iran because he wants to cover up the Epstein files. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But that seems like so third grade.
So
third grade analysis, at least to me.
You were saying how Epstein gave a few $1,000s to the Clintons in 2005-ish, 2006, right? It was also that Maxwell gave $1 million to help start the Clinton Global Initiative in the first place.
She planted the seeds.
So,
well, and she probably got the money from Epstein.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did she have that kind of change? Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm sure she did.
I don't know.
But it was the genesis of the whole initiative with the Clintons was they were getting $1 million through Maxwell.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't Ghislaine Maxwell and Bill Clinton having an affair?
Probably.
I think that I think
Joan,
that's a known.
Joan, I think it'd be easier to define who Bill Clinton was not having an affair with.
That's probably true.
Yes.
Also, in his deposition, Bill said he was much closer with Ghislaine than Jeffrey.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Well, there you have it, folks.
I will say this to your Anna Navarro comment. I don't think that was the worst take. At least that take has been discussed online. There was a reporter on MS Now who said that Donald Trump only invaded Iran to enrich his family.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense.
How does it, so what was the?
We're gonna get Trump Tower Tehran, obviously.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay,
obviously.
So what Trump is going to do, he's going to destroy...
It's going to be the nicest one.
Iran so that he can rebuild and put a bunch of Trump towers up?
Yep.
That's right. I forgot they had, like, the best beaches. That's where I want to go vacation.
You see how stunningly stupid these takes are?
Yep.
Like, I don't, whatever. I mean, Jay Tapper. Did you hear the audio that I played with Jay Tapper earlier? It was way earlier in the show. So real quick, Jay Tapper, because I think part of what this does is it gives us the opportunity to just mock at some of the really bad takes. This is Jay Tapper. Listen to this.
Was it necessary to kill the top 49 leaders of Iran, including Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader.
Was it really necessary to kill all of them?
Did you really have to? Are you worried? Are you worried it might make America look mean?
Yeah, we wouldn't want to look mean on the worldwide stage as we're trying to denuclearize Iran. So, and by the way, this is retired Lieutenant General Charles Moore. Here's what he says. And by the way, I love the stunned silence because there's like 2 or 3 seconds of silence while the guy's like, "Wait, you really just ask this question?"
It's a wait.
Yeah.
What?
I think it was a very wise move for a couple of reasons. First, anytime you can decapitate leadership in the government and military organizations, you put the whole country, the entire apparatus, in a state of upheaval. They don't know what's going on. It's extremely difficult for them to execute command and control, to have any type of synchronization or integration of their forces.
Was it necessary?
So there you go. I mean,
and you see the fruits of that. Why they did that, even in the past couple of days, as the Iranians are basically just resorting to the pray and spray method, and just hoping that some missile hits something.
Yeah. Oh, that's basically what they're doing. And for Jake Tapper, he clearly doesn't understand what needs to happen in Iran, where you've got to kill them, and then you've got to kill them some more, and then you've got to kill even more of them, because you've got to just eliminate that whole.
Maybe I'm giving Jake Tapper too much credit, but I think he's narrative building here, that it was excessive use of force by the United States, that we went way overboard.
Right.
But I think deep down he knows that was the right move.
Do you really think that?
I'm sure he does.
He can't write a book about it.
I just think he's a skilled liar.
Oh, by the way, and Joan and I talked about this real quickly in the beginning during our pre-show meeting. Have you seen what the left is now obsessing over with Donald Trump's? He's got like a mark or something on his. What was it? What was it, Joan?
It's on the back of his neck, like toward the back of his neck.
I mean, it's obvious that Melania gave him a hickey.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hickey-gate.
Yeah, hickey-gate. So
his doctor says he's got a little spot, like a precancerous kind of thing, and they put a little cream on it. It makes the skin look very raw for a couple of days.
We were having our own Operation Epic Fury in the White House.
Of course, the news outlets go with, his health is being questioned again.
Joan, when I think of Epic Fury, I think about Hillary and the lamp.
Yeah.
Actually, what I think of.
Shut up.
I don't know if I've ever received a hickey out of fury. That'd be more
typically how they happen.
You're missing out, Dan. Those are the best.
Missing out?
Those are the best. Those are the best
kinds of hickeys.
Those are the best kinds.
I try to
trying to put it in, and I just can't get it in.
Okay, very good. Do you know what I like though is when Sam said whatever he said about Epic Fury in the White is. We're all just silent, and then Joan just keeps talking.
Yep.
Just ignore it. Sometimes you just got to ignore it.
You can say you were silent. I saw you fighting your laughter.
The stream did too.
Yeah.
Hit like and subscribe while you're there.
Maybe if we get enough likes and subscribes, we'll play video again.
I mean, here's the thing. You can do it. You just have to not tell anybody.
As opposed to what I did, which was tell
tattle.
You broadcasted it.
I did. But we all know that nobody important listens to the show, and it's all fine, well, and good. I listen.
I listen, Dan.
You listen.
I listen.
Murphy Show, I bet you Murphy Show listens too.
Listen to what?
Ridiculous clown show.
Is that my show, Chris's show, or Murphy's show? Or all of us combined?
I like to think it's a happy mix.
It is a happy mix. All right, we got to go. Joan, what's coming up?
Coming up, it's more about Iran this morning, including that it's launched a new fierce attack on a U.S. military base in Qatar. We've got those stories and more at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 8:55, Dan Mandis here. Whether you are 20, 40, or 60 years old, Vision for Life has the right procedure to help you see clearly without glasses and without contacts. So if you're tired of dealing with blurry vision, Dr. Horn at Vision for Life is the name to know in Nashville. Now, Dr. Horn has helped thousands of people finally break free from glasses and contacts. Now, what makes Vision for Life different is that your treatment is tailored just for you. There's no cookie cutter approach, just smart, personalized care using the most advanced technology available. So no matter your age or your eye condition, Vision for Life is the destination for vision correction. Schedule your consultation today. Let Dr. Horn create a custom vision plan built around your lifestyle and your vision goals. 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out, visionforlife.com. That's visionforlife.com, and start seeing life the way it was meant to be seen.